ready for another lesson?
Oh, yeah, baby. We're coming in early this week. That's what she said?
Are those still popular?
You know, I think I just made them popular again.
Bring it back.
We're bringing it back, baby. The Office is still around.
Is it? It's hard to find now. It's on Peacock, the world's
it is on
worst
Peacock.
streaming service.
I don't know.
But I still pay for it every
Paramount
month.
Plus is giving it a run for its money.
Well, possibly soon to be HBO Max as well, too. A little bits of sizzle.
Bits of sizzle. But hey, guys, you have more access to the Halo TV show. That steaming pile of garbage. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie talk podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Adam Schwartz, and I might sound a little bit different and not in an echoey classroom in Washington, D.C. I'm in person this week, back in Chi-Town, back at Back Row Banter HQ.
Yeah.
It's great to be back here. It's great. You know,
We had a parade for you.
Yeah, it was the very fantastic ceremony.
It was loud.
It was loud.
There was confetti.
There was plenty of confetti. You know, champagne, food
A sailor
galore.
kissed a woman.
Yeah, there's so much celebrating. It was a great time. But yeah, we're back, and I'm glad to be back and talk about this movie, Bullet Train, which I'm very excited. It was a very fun time watching with all of you guys, minus Ty, but we'll get to that anyway. In the news, we have Warner Bros. Being Warner Bros.
Well, are they even Warner Bros. Anymore? They're Discovery Plus Bros. now.
Discovery Bros.
There you go.
No trailer talk this week. The new streaming is 2 weeks and the first week of the month all in one, so it's going to be quite a long list. There's some decent-ish stuff coming, I guess. We'll get to what we're watching, and then, as I mentioned before, our main review for the episode is Bullet Train. But before we get to any of that, I'm joined today, of course, by Nectarine Nathaniel Gingrich.
What up, folks? I'm Nectarine Nathaniel in my my code word. I guess
code name?
Code name, yeah. Probably wouldn't be good to have a code name that's got the same name as the same letter.
Yeah, it's kind of a giveaway.
As my actual name itself.
I feel like you'd want to throw people off.
That's true. But we're just in time for Discord to reset itself, so we're back, though.
I love being on this end of the reset.
Yeah, at least we're in person.
To worry. Yeah, exactly. I don't have to worry about shit. I don't have to worry about repeating myself. I don't have to worry about, is Nathaniel going to come back at all? You know, because that's a small thought that runs quickly through my brain.
No, I always come back.
Maybe Discord didn't crash. Maybe Nathaniel's just done with the podcast.
Just exited.
Maybe he's like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Just Irish goodbye out of there.
Exactly. Or he's like, I'm going to finish this show on my own. And he redoes the entire Entropy list.
Yeah, just take over the podcast.
Exactly. My Letterboxd is hacked, and I sign in, and it turns out that Jurassic Park is still number one. And then, I don't know, what's another movie you really liked? That
Y Tu Mama Tambien.
Yeah. And then Pan's Labyrinth, number 2.
Yeah.
Y Tu Mama Tambien, number 3.
Wow. I don't even know if that would be my ranking, but we'll have to see for when that inevitably happens.
I'm changing all of my passwords. Also joining us today, it's Tangerine Tyler Vidalis.
What's going on?
Hey, Tangerine.
Yo.
You like tangerines? I love tangerines.
Yeah. It's in the orange family.
We've talked about this multiple times, I think. But favorite fruit, yours is Blake's is mango. Ty, yours is pineapple.
Up there for sure. It's always kind of a toss up between mangoes.
That's right. You
and
said
pineapples.
Yeah, you said it. You said it's kind of always in between.
I guess though, like if I'm going for like just like a fruit that like you usually eat. Like you go to a grocery store, you don't think of like getting a pineapple, you know?
Sure.
Like
not always. I do.
Because like it's a pain in the ass to like cut up. But like I guess like my favorite like go to would probably be like an apple. I fucking
Dude,
love
you
apples.
can't go wrong with apples. I think they're very popular, of course, a very popular fruit, very common. But I think they're still underrated. You know, like
I think because they're so common, they're underrated. But like if you're like a fall person like myself, and you really get into how many different kinds of variations of apples that are out there,
yeah,
they'll surprise you.
But you can't go wrong with a Honeycrisp. But like if you're getting consistently, I just get Honeycrisp, and I'm never gonna be not satisfied. You know.
Yeah.
I'm a Granny Smith man myself.
Are you?
I am. Yeah.
Interesting.
I like it. I like it a little sour. I like tart fruits though as well too, like pineapples, raspberries.
I love pineapples. Yeah, pineapples, raspberries are good too.
As long as I get like a good snap, I like a harder
crunch.
apple. I'm not like a soft apple.
Yeah,
kind of
no, you gotta get that crunch. You gotta get that tight skin on there.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. Anything like loose right there is not good.
I got weirdly sexual. Anyways,
Hey, man, we set the tone at the top of the show, and I'm just rolling with it.
well, it is a Brad Pitt movie, so if you want to dip into
And it's
sensuality,
David,
we can.
David, how do you pronounce his name? David
Leitch?
Something like that.
The Lich.
And rounding out the squadron, it's Big Hornet BlakeHolder.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Almost Zazie beats Blake.
Almost. We were shooting.
We were
Shoot for the stars.
You could be Big Beats Blake.
I was just about to say that. Big beats Blake.
Is
I think
beat
that
a
works.
fruit?
Or is it Oh, I was that has multiple meanings. It's a triple entendre.
It is. Is beet a vegetable?
I think it falls under the vegetable family.
Beets are a hardy root vegetable.
Oh, well, there you go.
Let's go.
Yet another The Office reference. We're really up there.
You could be chatting about beats the vegetable, beats as in music.
Beets as in Zazie?
Beats as in Zazie Beats' last name, yeah.
Beats is
Battlestar Galactica?
Dre by Dre.
Beats by Dre. Are there any other beats we're missing?
A beat down.
Yeah, but okay, that kind of beat. Oh my God, beats a lot. You got a lot of words there.
Oh yeah,
a lot of different meaning.
Yeah, homonym, synonym, homophones.
Yeah. I just didn't know what to do with that. I was like, homophones? Do I make some kind of homo joke? I don't. And then I was
just,
like,
just leave that one there.
Like, I'm gonna let that lie. I'm just gonna let that lie.
It's
there.
the trickiest prefix in
it
the English
really
language.
is, you know. Because you can get into some slippery slopes with the homophones and
ET phone homes.
Yeah.
I think that's coming back out to theaters too. I think I saw in IMAX or something like that, according to AMC. Anyways,
Did you know that the correct quote from that is actually ET home phone and not ET phone home?
No, I didn't know that.
I did not know that.
I don't think I've seen that movie in maybe 20 years.
I don't think I've ever seen that movie. Like, I don't even know if I've seen it as a kid. I know I've seen bits and pieces of it. But I don't think I've ever sat down and watched that movie all the way through.
This is pointing.
I love that movie. I used to watch that movie in its entirety all the time as a kid.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get on here one day.
I think it'll be a good one.
Yeah. You know what we're not going to get on the entropy list, Nathaniel?
What's that?
Batgirl.
Tell me about it.
No, we are not.
No, and no one's ever going to see Batgirl, apparently, because it's illegal for them to release it now. Did you know that?
I found...
The
internet will find a way
out their ass if they release it because I guess they're doing this tax thing. Anyway, if you haven't heard, Warner Bros. Has made some interesting business decisions in the past week or so. It was announced before they announced the Disney or the Discovery Plus stuff, right? That Batgirl, like that was the first.
It all kind of came out of the same way. They've been slowly kind of like culling movies off there. Like obviously Blake's favorite American Pickle has been removed from HBO Max.
No way.
Along with another series of HBO originals and that kind of thing. And then there was a lot of other kind of movies that were supposed to be on kind of the schedule that were coming out that were kind of quietly sort of taken off or that kind of thing. Yeah. But yeah, if you haven't heard, AT&T Time Warner sold the majority stake of HBO to Discovery Plus, which is their own thing. So, i.e., the Discovery Channel now owns the HBO Max and HBO library, and they've got a guy named David Zaslav, something like that.
I will try to find
old white man.
Zaslav.
Yeah, old white man. Who's got a bunch of old white men buddies, and they're kind of canceling anything that could be good at HBO Max or HBO over the next couple of years. And the biggest kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Casualty of that is, and most well-known one has been the Batgirl movie, which from what we understand was more or less in the can at this point, done and shot. And needed to go through the post-production process, which in itself is lengthy. And, obviously they haven't done any marketing for that, which is generally double the kind of the budget. But Yeah, they have shelved that movie, even though it is completely done at this point, and are not going to release it, which it was supposed to go directly to HBO Max, from what I understand, and it has about a $90 million budget overall, and they are taking rid of it and writing it off as for tax purposes. At least that's their line of inquiry, or their line of reasoning so far, and it's a bummer.
No shit, man.
To say the least.
Yeah. They did release a statement that I kind of want to read here.
Go for it.
The decision to not release Batgirl reflects our leadership's strategic shift as it relates to the DC Universe and HBO Max, said a Warner Bros. Spokesperson in his statement. Leslie Grace is an incredibly talented actor.
Sorry, I just
and this decision is not a reflection of her performance. Yeah. We are incredibly grateful to the filmmakers of Batgirl and Scoob Holiday Hunt and their respective casts, and we hope to collaborate with everyone again in the near future. Okay.
Sorry. It's
because we forgot to mention Scoob Holiday Hunt.
Holiday Haunt. I believe it was. It was a Halloween, supposed to be a Halloween special or something like that, which makes sense for Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, so scans. So that's canceled as well, which I was dying for. But
yeah, and there's a bunch of other stuff that they've been cutting as well too. Like a lot of like the DC things that have been announced over the years are gone and dead, and yeah. So
and they're also now merging with Discovery Plus. How do we feel about that? Or at least that's on the horizon. What did they say? What they gave us a timeline of the official merger, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It says everything's supposed to be by 2024 or something like that.
Yeah, it's going to be another year.
Who knows? We could look it up, but this is a casual talk podcast. This is stupid and I hate it.
Yeah, this is really dumb.
I have thoughts.
What are those thoughts, Nathaniel?
This is stupid and I hate it.
Okay.
No, David Zaslav, or however you say his name, sounds like he sucks.
Zaslav.
Yeah, that one.
He could be the villain in a Bond film.
He does kind of have that air about him, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I guess they own Bond now, so make him the villain.
Well, there you go. But, from Film Twitter has been talking about this for a while now. From what Film Twitter has been saying, when he was at Discovery, he kind of sucked, and he kind of sucks now. So, and in just that, I mean, kind of wants to have more unscripted content, wants to have more of kind of the same of what we've been doing. I think they said that their major tentpole things were fucking Breaking Amish or something like that, and the Real Housewives universe or something like that. Which, fine, if that's what you're gonna watch, that's cool, but don't sacrifice good scripted diverse content for this kind of thing. Batgirl's
both
Batgirl's a great example where you have a minority heroine. You have you're bringing people like J.K. Simmons back into it to play Commissioner Gordon. You have Brendan Fraser playing Firefly, who's going to be the main villain. It's directed by the guys that did the that were doing
Bad Boys for Life.
Well, that and Miss Marvel. As well too, which was very successful for Disney, and it was going to HBO Max, which I don't understand the process of we're going to announce this and have that set up for HBO Max, and then canceling it when you don't have to do marketing for it. They literally
just put it out there.
Yeah, and I mean it was revealed this week that Prey, the new movie on Hulu, has been their biggest release ever on that platform. Over movies, TVs, anything like that.
And they didn't do a huge marketing push for it. I really saw maybe one trailer on TV for it, and I don't watch a lot of TV, so that I could be wrong. They could have been pushing the hell out of it. And I saw a few ads before YouTube videos, and that was about it.
Yeah, and even from a content standpoint, we've talked often and proudly about the fact that if you want to have quality stuff, HBO Max is really the best streaming service now in terms of your Turner Classic Movies, all the Studio Ghibli stuff.
Yeah,
even the DC universe.
Ever since
it's
launched, HBO Max has been. It's probably not been my most frequently visited streaming service, but it's my favorite one because I know if I want quality, I'm going to go to HBO Max because I go to Netflix and I get bullshit, the game show,
which is kind of where they've
and loved, they're very much also you know what I mean.
Well, they're very much struggling with that as well too. I think they said they were down 1 million subscribers and are for the first time collapsing rather than growing, sort of thing. So I don't know, just a very strange idea and thought process here. You know, the Warner Bros. DC thing has been crazy for, you know, the last 5 years. You know, I think there was a report a couple weeks ago about how, you know, the Zack Snyder basically bought all of these bots on Twitter that pushed for the Snyder Cut and all that kind of thing.
Did he pay for those?
Yeah, it's very heavily hinted in that report. If you've seen it, it's on Variety. Go read it.
I heard there were bots for Zack Snyder, the Snyder Cut, but I didn't know he was the one paying for it.
Yeah. Well, it's not confirmed, but it's very heavily kind of hinted.
Sure, one of those things.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's been a mess for a while. But you know, there's an argument to be made for scrapping everything and starting over. But when you have things like this that are being canceled, and then as we've been talking about off-pod and stuff, things like The Flash, which is just a shit show right now with its main star and everything like that they're pushing as this great movie and all that stuff. It just, the messaging does not match the actions. So I don't know. It's kind of a bummer. It pushes for, I was talking about, I think to you guys, it pushes for this kind of almost a return to physical media in some ways, I think, where like if you have access to this kind of stuff, having a physical copy of it is maybe going to be the best way to ensure that you have access to it from now on.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's becoming... I mean,
it has been, but you kind of always felt like, oh, what I have on the streaming, like if I don't have a physical copy of something and it's on the streaming service, like if it moves from one streaming service, it's going to be at another. But they're straight up erasing movies now. Right,
and that's
and they
that's the
like
thing.
American Pickle. There's no hard copy of that.
Right.
Like I'm obviously I don't love that movie, but if I did,
yeah. Well, Blake bought all of the physical copies to burn them.
Sure. Yeah. But if I did love that movie, like I couldn't buy it, and now I straight up can't watch it.
Right, and just from a not even like a thing, like you may hate that movie, you may not like, you know, the star that's in it or the director that made it or anything like that, but there's a big crew that worked on that movie as well too, you know, that put their blood, sweat, and tears into that.
And same goes for Batgirl, same goes for Scoob. I'm sure, like regardless of whether any of these movies for streaming services are good or not, they still take quite a bit to get made.
Well, and this is the problem with streaming services in general, is that there really isn't a union for stuff like this to make sure that there is enforcement on this kind of thing. You know, HBO Max may be a little bit different because it has, you know, kind of more of a history starting as a channel and that kind of thing. But for things like Netflix or I saw as well on film kind of Twitter, there was a person that was involved in the making of Dickinson for Apple TV Plus.
Okay, yeah.
And they were saying like they begged Apple for a physical copy of it because they spent 6 years of their life writing it and there wasn't any physical copies out there. So it just goes to show, you know, these things that we think we own in terms of digital copies or streaming copies or something like that, any of those companies can pull the rights back from it and not have those anymore. So
yeah, sure.
Weird world, kind of a weird development that's, you know, going to be, I think, have ramifications for the industry.
I think it should. I think this could be a warning sign that something needs to be kind of done to like solidify digital streaming rights and that kind of thing.
And again, Marvel's just laughing to the bank. At the end of the day here, like they're going to keep going. So, we'll see.
We will. Well, that's not the only Warner Bros. News. There's some good news this week. I mean, if you liked the first Joker film, I guess it's good news. Joker 2 has officially been confirmed. We kind of did a story on it a couple weeks back, maybe a month or two ago, where it was kind of hinted at, where the director, his name's escaping me already. This is great. Phillips, Todd Phillips?
Todd Phillips, yes.
Yeah, thank you. Todd Phillips, he posted a picture of the script on his Instagram story or Instagram or something like that.
Folie à deux.
Folie à deux. And it was rumored that Lady Gaga could be coming on to play Harley Quinn.
Yep.
And it's pretty much all but confirmed that's the case. So the movie has been officially announced with a release date of October 4th, 2024, which is quite a far ways away. And when did the original come out, 2019 or 2018?
2019.
Okay, so that'll be a 5-year gap between the two, which is, that's a long time.
It is, but it's not like what it used to be. Like, that used to be a normal sequel length, I feel like, between the original movie and the... Because, I mean, you think Batman Begins to Dark Knight's 5 years. That's 04 to 09.
But then 3 years between Dark Knight and Rises.
But I mean, I feel like we've accelerated now. Like the Marvel complex has accelerated.
That's true.
This.
Marvel has really, and I guess that's true. But I also feel like John Wick was accelerated. I don't know. John Wick was like first one, and then second and third was like bam, bam. Second and third was like within 2 years of each other almost. Regardless, so yeah, we got that coming. Joaquin Phoenix, and Lady Gaga. Does Lady Gaga casting do anything for anyone? I am intrigued by it, but I love her in A Star Is Born, but I still don't know if I trust her as that kind of actress that could take on a personality shifting role like that. Do you know what I mean?
Does it feel a bit on the nose for you?
In what way?
In that like Harley Quinn, Lady Gaga, like it, that almost like she's very theatrical as a performer and that kind of thing.
Maybe. I don't know. I just think it's going to be, that's a good point. I didn't really think about it. I guess she kind of has some kind of persona that she's built up and maybe been playing for most of her musical career. So maybe she does kind of bring some of that into the role. That's a good point. I could see that being a good thing, but I don't know. I just, she's been in A Star Is Born and House of Gucci, and we'll see if this acting thing is a real thing. I think this will be maybe a true test to whether she will stick around as an actress or not.
Fair enough.
I don't mind the casting.
I don't mind it either. I'm not. I think it gives me. I'm intrigued by it.
Yeah,
it gives me something to kind of look forward to.
First hearing that, I was kind of like, Yeah. And then the further I kind of looked into it, I was like,
Yeah.
I guess if you wanted to move on from the Margot Robbie kind of characterization of it as well too, it's a good choice without going too crazy out there or anything. I think I did see as well too that Zazie Beetz is in talks to come back for her role.
Yeah, that's what I saw
as well too.
You're that, Blake? You in?
Yeah, Blake will be.
I'm in.
Blake's in.
There first day.
I'm in.
Now, Blake, what if Anya Taylor-Joy was Harley?
See, that would have been.
No, that would have been crazy. She would have been great.
Yeah. But I mean, even if you looked at the first Joker, like, where do you put her? Well, I guess who would you play? I mean,
well, she'd be playing Harley Quinn, I guess, would be what he was saying.
Okay.
I'm saying if she was playing Harley Quinn in the second one.
I think Joaquin Phoenix maybe plays a little bit too old for Anya Taylor-Joy.
That's what I was just thinking.
That's a tough one.
But I think later down the road, Anya Taylor-Joy would make a fantastic,
You're just saying that because she's pale and blonde.
Whoa, hey now. She's a great actress, and I think she'd had fun with that. I feel like a lot of her roles have been. She's not like a character actor or stereotypical actor where all of her roles are the same by any means. She's got a very wide range, but I think this would add to that. You know what I'm saying? Like she's proven that she can do all these different things.
Hey man, you don't have to sell me on it.
Yeah, I think I think this would be that would be like such a true test to her ability. Anyway, yeah, that's it. Warner Bros, you suck, sorta.
Get your shit together. Discovery
Plus. Let's get in. Let's keep it rolling. I guess we're going to go into the news streaming list. Adam Schwartz's completely subjective news streaming list for the weeks of July 31st through the 13th. If you don't know, there's a lot of things coming to the streaming services every week, and this is my hand-picked, curated list of the things that are potentially worth checking out. Coming to Netflix, we have 8 Mile, Battle Los Angeles. I put a T on the end there. That's not how that works. Dinner for Schmucks, Eyes Wide Shut, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Hardcore Henry, Men in Black 1, 2, and 3, No Strings Attached, Space Jam, Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3. The original Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy is coming to Netflix. I might finally go back and watch these now that it's very easily accessible to me. Because it's been a while. I haven't watched them in maybe 7 or 8 years or so, and I would love to go back and rewatch them. Because as I've stated many times, childhood films. Those are very talk about DNA films.
Yeah.
Talk about DNA films. Those might be the biggest DNA films that
I actually tried to throw one on, and it sat with Leah for all of like 20 minutes, and she's like, "All right, we gotta turn this off." And I was like, "All right, that's cool."
Shock me. That doesn't shock me.
It's like one of those ones where like you don't ask like, "Hey, babe, what do you want to watch?" You just throw it on and see if they just like let it slide.
Exactly. Yeah.
Didn't slide.
Didn't slide. No. Got vetoed. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, let me know, Ty. I'll come over. We can watch them together.
Bet.
All right. Cool. The Town, Skyfall, Uncharted. Skyfall or Uncharted?
The Town.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I haven't seen that one, but I know it's really. I've heard it's really good. So I wanted to check it out for a while.
Yeah, we were talking about action movies earlier.
We were. That'd be a good one to get on. The Town, Skyfall, Uncharted, The Nice Guys, and you guys got to hear this one. It's called Day Shift. It's a Netflix original film. This is Jamie Foxx stars alongside Snoop Dogg and Dave Franco in this vampire movie where Fox stars as a vampire killer while under the guise of a cleaner.
Unreal.
Right?
The description you just read.
I can't wait to watch this. I kind of I feel like it has to be like that's one of those things that you kind of have to do.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like it doesn't sound good at all, but it's worth looking into.
You're right. It definitely doesn't sound good at all, like realistically, but also you're right. Like I kind of want to watch it. It's almost like it seems like it's gonna be bad, but it's also it could be bad good.
Right.
Yeah. Or good bad, whatever works that way. Amazon Prime is getting 500 Days of Summer, 21 Jump Street, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, Easy A, Evil Dead, Face Off, Hardball, I Love You, Beth Cooper, Office Space, Source Code, a whole slew of Star Trek films. I don't know if it's every single one, but it seems like it might be. It's a lot of them. The Exorcism of Emily Rose, The Machinist.
Have you seen that?
No.
Exorcism of Emily Rose is a good movie.
Yeah, but I remember you guys talking about that. That's how it made it on this list. So
fair enough.
Yeah. The Machinist, Wayne's World 2, Licorice Pizza, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and A League of Their Own Prime Video original series. This is a new reboot of it.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we'll see. I just thought that was interesting that they were making that, so I put it on. Hulu is getting 21, the Blackjack film.
Isn't that a favorite of yours?
It low-key is because it's not like a D&E film, but it's like one I watched a lot because it was like that's the older brother movie for me.
Sure.
You know, my older brother got that movie and then I was like, oh, this movie is so cool. And when I was like 8 or 9, and because it came out in 2008, I don't think I saw it in theater, or maybe I did see it in theaters. I don't know. Somehow my parents let me see that when I was like 9, maybe.
Sucks that Kevin Spacey's a sex pest.
Right. But yeah, that was one of those films that I liked as a kid just because I thought it was cool and mature, and I've rewatched it rather recently within the past 3 years. It's not that bad. It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, it's not like one of those things where it's like, oh, you loved it as a kid and it actually sucks. It's like, oh, I loved it as a kid because I thought it was really cool. Then I'm like, oh, this is actually fine, and that's a good feeling, you know. Maybe it does, you know, because when you were younger, it didn't actually. You weren't.
Didn't suck.
Yeah, it didn't suck, you know. Black Swan, Castaway, Despicable Me 1 and 2, Fantastic Mr. Fox, Ghostbusters, and Ghostbusters 2. Wait, I'm going to pause really quick. Have I told you guys I've never seen a single Wes Anderson film? Is that a bad thing?
I kind of hate Wes Anderson.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. You don't like him.
I liked Grand Budapest Hotel, and I also feel like it's one of those things that I decided I hated him when I was 21 in a film Bro more, and I was just he doesn't move in diagonal lines and it annoys me. But I really hated Moonrise Kingdom.
Yes, so that was one of the first takes you had on the pod.
Yeah. So I don't really care if you haven't seen Wes Anderson, but check it out.
I just know so many people that are in between film bros and not film bros, you know, and everyone in between loves Wes Anderson. You know, it's if you're above casual movie watcher where you watch movies every once in a while, but you're not on our level where we watch movies all the time.
For sure.
If you're in between, you think Wes Anderson's the shit. And so anyone in between that hears that I love movies, they go, oh, have you seen these Wes Anderson films? I go, nope, haven't seen a single one. Maybe I should.
You definitely should check him out. Yeah, decide for yourself.
I definitely feel like I could vibe with his style.
I think you would like it
after seeing a lot of clips and whatnot from his films, but we'll see. Ghostbusters 1 and 2, Groundhog Day, Paul Blart, Mall Cop. I'm gonna let that sit.
A modern classic.
A modern classic. Hulu is also getting the Spider-Man Sam Raimi trilogy, so you have more than one option on how to view that one. You have the Blair Witch Project, one that maybe we get that in October. Maybe you do that one.
Paranormal Activity, Blair Witch.
Yeah, I was thinking of some type of found footage.
Yeah.
This dog won't hop up on this chair.
You pop up the recliner a little bit, and she
Just
will.
a little bit?
Yeah.
Does she need like a little ramp, a little runway?
a little bit.
Come here, dog.
Doggo. Go up that way.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. We should try to get
All right.
a little more.
We'll
Much horror we got. We should try to get some found footage horror. I think that'll be a cool.
Well, you did the found footage kind of deep dive over the last kind of year or so.
Yeah.
All right, so we have Blair Witch, War Horse. That's Spielberg, right?
It is.
Yeah. And then Prey, the new one that we were just talking about. That came out. Go watch it if you haven't already. I think that's coming up on the while we're watching here, right?
It is indeed.
All right.
Yeah.
Bit of sizzle. Jinx. HBO Max / Discovery Plus. Ex Machina, which also might be featured on what we're watching. Bit of sizzle. Source Code, The Fault in Our Stars, and The Notebook. Whiplash. I don't even have to say much more about that one, right? You guys already know. If you've been listening for a while, you know that's my favorite movie of like all time. So please go watch that if you haven't.
I love
Please.
Mickey Rourke.
Mickey Rourke.
He plays Whiplash in Iron Man 2.
How many sips of that second drink have you had?
Sorry.
You want to know how I know Whiplash wasn't like that great of a movie?
Because you still think of Mickey Rourke?
No, because there's no Whiplash too.
Whoa.
Wow. You know what? You're right. I'm going to reevaluate some things.
Yeah, if it's not a huge franchise, it's just
He
obviously.
might be on it.
Hey.
In all honesty, he may be on it.
What is this? Step Up? Like, like it ain't that kind of movie, folks.
It's just a fucking one-off, man.
What is the second one going to be called? Ball and Chain? Like, what you doing?
Tempo.
Tempo.
Not my tempo.
Yeah, not my tempo. My God. Belfast.
That's the Kenneth Branagh one, I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah, it's the 2021 one.
Yeah.
Oscar Best Picture nom.
Couple Oscar noms on here
Quite
too,
a few.
like Licorice Pizza as well
Yep.
too.
Yep. Whiplash.
I just mean for 2021.
Oh, I just meant
specifically.
any Oscar.
Yeah, we're not talking about
War Horse.
I think War Horse was nominated as well too.
It was actually, yeah. And then Disney Plus is getting Marvel Studios Assembled, the making of Miss Marvel, the behind the scenes stuff they've been doing. Lightyear is coming to Disney Plus. It's been 45 days apparently.
Did anyone else see that besides me?
We reviewed it.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, there you go.
Hello.
The answer
My
is
bad,
he's
gang.
had quite a few sips of that second drink.
No,
folks.
genuinely, like I kind of forgot that we actually did review that one, which may tell you something about it.
Yes, it definitely
Well.
speaks volumes about the quality of that movie. And I Am Groot is coming to Disney Plus. This is a series of short episodes, short films, short stories. That's the one I was looking for, of Baby Groot, and it's like animated and it seems fun.
But is it good?
I don't know. I feel like it could be
I
good.
was kind of like excited when I originally saw this, and then I watched the preview, and I was like, I don't know if this is for me.
Yeah, maybe not.
Is it like more of a kid style thing? I haven't seen
It
any
definitely
previews for
feels like it's geared way more towards that
It
vibe.
could,
for
but
sure.
I also love Groot, so like, I don't know.
it. Is it still
feel like it
is
could
it
be good.
still voiced by Vin Diesel? Is my question.
Oh, you mean pop artist Vin Diesel?
Musical hero of mine, Vin Diesel.
Musical icon?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have no idea. Maybe.
Does it feel like I do?
It does feel like you do. What are you watching, Nathaniel?
I've been watching a couple different things.
Yeah? I'm excited for this week's What We're Watching. You know why?
Why is that?
I actually watched some things. Who
well,
knows?
You've been away.
I've been away. I've been in the far off land of Washington D.C. I've returned, and who would have thought? When I have time on my hands, I actually do watch my television. When it's not a 32-inch Dynex from 1998.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah.
Do you want to kick it off then, or do you want me to go with what?
No,
what
you
I've
go
done?
ahead.
Okay.
You go ahead. I just wanted to chime in because I was actually like, wow, what we're watching. I have something to contribute this week.
Yeah, well, I got to a couple different things this week. So I've been watching more of the Batman animated series from the 90s.
The Batgirl.
Yeah, exactly. I think she actually does show up in a couple episodes.
Does she really?
Yeah, but not in the ones that I've gotten to yet. We're still actually, I think, on the first season because there's like 45 episodes in it.
You better hurry up. They might pull it.
Yeah, no kidding. But man, that show's great. Like, it's so good. If you like anything with Batman, it might be the best Batman, to be completely honest.
Which one is it?
The animated series, like
just the regular Batman, the animated series. Because I know they have like Batman Beyond, I think. Or Batman, a few other ones.
Yeah, no, this is definitely like the main one, I would say, from the 90s.
And you think it's the best Batman?
It very easily could be. Yeah.
Who is the voice actor?
Kevin Conroy.
Who does
most of the Batman stuff.
Yeah, Batman Arkham Asylum stuff too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's that Batman.
And
too.
that's with where you get Mark Hamill as the Joker as well too. That's
he's the animated series Joker too. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, it's great. It's kind of a continuation of like the Batman '89 universe and that kind of like weird Gothic Art Deco style,
which I vibe with.
Yeah, and like they used black. I think I've told this on the podcast before, but they used black art paper first, so instead of white paper, so you weren't drawing onto it, you were kind of like drawing the light into everything as well too, which was really kind of an interesting style and all that kind of stuff, and really contributed to the overall feeling of the show. And it's just a really good version of Batman, to be honest with you. All of the villains are very well characterized and brought to life and fulfilled in these kind of new and interesting ways. That's where you get the kind of first iteration of Mr. Freeze's kind of tragic backstory, rather than just a guy that shoots people with a freeze gun and that kind of thing. So
Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, and I think too, like, and this is something that I think will come up a little bit this week as well, like, there's always something when you have to limit artists to like fit a certain area, and good creatives will find beautiful ways around that. Like, it's a Batman series that's for kids, so you can't just have guns shooting all the time or anything like that. You can't go balls to the wall, gritty Batman, Zack Snyder style. So you have to kind of come up with things that are still horrifying and still weird and still get to those fears that we all have within us, but aren't as, just lazy as just a man with a gun comes into the room or something like that. I think that's always interesting for artists to kind of work around. And I think another area where that plays into is actually one of the other movies I saw this week, which was Prey, which we kind of hinted at already as well too. That's a movie that is directed by Dan Trachtenberg, who did 10 Cloverfield Lane, which is another movie that I think had some restrictions on it. And this is a Predator movie that needed to be made for a streaming service that maybe didn't have the budget of The Predator or of even Predators, which came out a couple of years ago, which I think is still a good movie. But you can see in there how they have, created shots to make full use of CGI, not using you don't see the Predator maybe as much as you think you're going to, or, a lot of stuff happens off screen or is implied and that kind of thing. And that, again, in some ways, those limitations on artists force them to become more creative and more effective in their storytelling. And I think that's just, something that maybe gets missed nowadays in like the world of we can make anything out of CGI, or we can make anything out of,
that's the biggest thing with like Jaws is that movie was only as successful as it was because the prosthetic shark that they made
didn't work.
Yeah. So they had to hide it.
Yep.
And they could only, by the time they fixed it, they had time to shoot the
back half of the movie, basically.
Yeah. The last 30 minutes. And so the whole movie, they were hiding the big ass shark that they made for it.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Who knows what that movie what that movie would have looked like and what Spielberg's career would have looked like without that failing,
So yeah, I'm a big fan of Prey. We'll probably be reviewing it for a couple upcoming episodes, so I'm gonna save. I'm gonna save more of my thoughts on that for then. But I thought it was a great job, great entry in the Predator franchise, and I'm excited to see what Dan Trachtenberg does next, and kind of everyone involved in that movie. So definitely, I recommend to go watch that if you haven't yet and you like the Predator series. But also one that you don't have to see you can go into that one blind. You can go into it fresh and still enjoy it as well too.
Sure.
Waz and I finished the anime series Trigun this week, so that was nice. Really cool. I enjoyed that a lot. I will definitely be enjoying the kind of reboot that is coming out of that soon as well too, where they're going to be kind of expanding the series as well too. It's very 90s, which I think is very cool as well too. And say what you will about anime, but there is something to be said that like the classics or each one of them has a distinctive style and such a sense of purpose and space, which I think is just captured so well and is one of the most intriguing things about them. So yeah, definitely recommend if you're in for a good anime series. Watched a little bit more of One Piece. Watched more of season 3 of Blown Away, which is the glass blowing show on Netflix, which is just kind of one of my low key favorite shows to just watch as well too. Great kind of background television, or just got home from work, want to throw something on. Nice calming show.
Yeah.
I got to Pitch Black this week, which I don't know. Hey. I know Blake has seen. I'm sure Tyler has seen, but I have actually never seen as well too. That was my first time.
Surprising, you've never seen that one.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that I think like I just missed as a kid and was always kind of saving in some ways.
For sure, yeah.
Man, that is the most 2000s movie I think I've ever seen in terms of just frenetic, like MTV style editing. Like there's so many. What's the word I'm looking for? Strobe light effects as well too.
Yeah.
Vin Diesel is just chewing scenery. You can tell it's a movie that's made on a budget because everyone's Australian, so they like clearly like made it in the Australian outback as well too. But yeah, I mean it's fun. It's definitely you can understand. Vin Diesel, for all his faults, has the gravitas and has that star presence within it as well too. And it's a pretty cool, unique concept. It's shot by the guy that did Waterworld, which I thought was crazy. And then this has kind of like been his franchise since then. And say what you will, but he's got his own distinctive flair. So always a interesting genre piece and something that I think has kind of stood the test of time for a reason. So I would recommend if you're in for kind of an interesting action flick from the 2000s. Another movie I saw was actually Elvis. I got to see
got around to it?
The Elvis biopic, which was good. Yeah. I was a little bit like kind of on the fence about it overall.
I've heard so much back and forth.
Yeah, I think it's Baz Luhrmann for sure, which is his own kind of acquired taste in some ways. If you've seen Romeo plus Juliet or what's his other big one, Great Gatsby as well too.
Did he do Rocket Man?
No, that was Dexter Fletcher and. Partially Bryan Singer, I want to say. No, that was Bohemian Rhapsody. Dexter Fletcher did Rocket Man.
Okay.
But, the Baz Luhrmann has his definite distinct visual style. Also Australian, so there's a great bunch of Australian actors in there as well, too. Tom Hanks is doing maybe his weirdest voice he's ever done. But the guy that plays Elvis, Austin Butler, who I last saw in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, he plays the character of Tex Watson in that. But he's really great. And I truthfully don't know that much about Elvis. He's not an artist that I necessarily grew up with besides just kind of knowing his songs when he came on the radio and knowing him as the king of rock and roll and stuff like that. But it was a very interesting story in that way.
Yeah.
And I'd say it's worth a watch if you're kind of don't know anything about it like me or anything like that and are interested. So recommend. I watched the first episode of The Sandman on Netflix,
I've seen a lot of buzz about that.
Yeah, it's the adaptation of Neil Gaiman's Sandman comic, which I have the big omnibus of that over there as well too. Great comic, and first episode was really, really good. One of those ones I feel like I want to be in the mood to watch more of it as well too. But I think definitely like Tyler would get a big kick out of that. Adam, I think you would probably like that as well too.
Okay.
I'm the character of the Sandman is the god of dreams. I'm a huge kind of I've always been a person with very vivid dreams as well too, and that kind of thing. So that always appealed to me. And Neil Gaiman has maybe one of the great imaginations of the 21st century, 20th century, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. He seems to be kind of tapped into something else that a lot of people really aren't. And very, very cool. And would recommend as well. And yeah, that is it for me. I will finish up there. Adam, what have you been watching?
I'm so glad you asked. Came back. One of the first things I had to put on was Bill Burr live at the Red Rocks. This was something that came up in the What We're Watching a couple weeks ago. Papa Schwartz put it on, said he really enjoyed it. And Bill Burr, as I've stated on pod before, definitely my favorite, probably my favorite stand-up comedian, and definitely my favorite one that I've seen live, because I've seen quite a few people live now, almost a dozen. And he is by far the best live. So I was very excited to check this one out. And it's good, but it was not my favorite thing he's done. There's just something off about it. I don't know. He just kept making the same kind of jokes over and over. In the subject matter,
do you think
changed not as much as I would have liked it to?
Do you think comedy is like overdue for the next kind of iteration, the next kind of evolution, maybe in some ways?
Stand up?
Yeah. Because I feel like we're kind of trapped in this, like, there's this area of guys that are like, well, we can't make jokes about anything anymore.
It's making jokes like, about can't making jokes.
Or, like, about woke content and that kind of thing. And then there's this other half, which is kind of like the Hannah Gadsby Nanettes of the world, or the Nathaniels as well, I think I talked about a few weeks ago, where it's just kind of like this emotional openness in comedy, or even like Bo Burnham Inside as well, too.
Yeah.
And I feel like those are kind of going to clash against each other, and there's going to be some sort of kind of evolution there. Or
comedy's always evolving. So I think whether we
whoa, man, you sound wise.
whether we want to or not, like it's gonna come, whether eventually. So I'm not too worried about how it comes. But yeah, I think that's inevitable, and I am definitely ready for it.
Yeah, I was just asking, is like you may be like the most kind of person that I know that's been to the most stand-up shows or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Your biggest fan in that sense.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think I am getting tired of that comedy as well.
Sure.
Where it's just like, man, the times we live in, man, it's crazy cancel culture. Whoa, like
can't say anything.
And Bo Burnham even has that podcast bit in the outtakes where he's like, he's having a podcast with himself.
Just annihilates Joe Rogan.
Exactly. Oh my God. So I was talking to my sparring partner the other day. He goes, nice. So that was God, I love Inside. But yeah, no, I think if anything, I would love that to be the next evolution of comedy, is leaning more towards that. And I think Bo Burnham is just so different that no one's gonna mimic that.
Sure.
So I can't just say, oh, everyone do what Bo Burnham's doing, because you can't, or at least you can't do it as well. So, but I do like what you're saying, where it could kind of clash, those two things being open and with each other. But I don't know. I think there's just been this heavy dependence where you have to make jokes about you can't make jokes, and like that's definitely become the trend. And I feel like maybe it started a little bit more when Dave Chappelle came back in like 2016. That kind of feels like when things started to change a little bit, and ever since then because that's also when cancel culture, kind of picked up a little bit, quote unquote cancel culture, whatever you want to say. But that picked up a little bit, and so since then, it's just been like and it was funny at first. It was they were kind of, I feel people were genuinely kind of like, oh, what happens now? And they kind of made jokes about that, and that was funny. And I feel like we've gone over a hump a little bit after this pandemic, where it's like we've defined the line. The line has been defined. We know what we can and can't say. So let's deal with that, and let's just move on. Let's just go from here. Okay, we're no longer in an area where it's like, oh, what can I say? Can I say this? Can I say that? And it's like I don't need that anymore. We figured it out. We don't have to keep going over this again and again. And it feels like almost every stand-up comedian has had either a joke or even an entire special, or if you're Dave Chappelle, your entire comedy persona since you came back, being around that. And it's just like I'm kind of over that. And this wasn't exclusively that. With Bill Burr, because
no, I feel like Burr kind of walks that line.
He does, and there's Dave Chappelle, and Bill Burr has his own style of comedy that's also very raunchy.
Sure,
but he owns up to it to a point where it's like, okay, like he knows he's threading the needle a little bit, and he knows he's got to be careful with what he says, and he always qualifies what he says, kind of, where it's like, all right, like, I know that was a little bit too much, but like, hear me out, kind of thing.
Sure.
And for the most part, it's fairly lighthearted, and I enjoy it. But you're right. I think we need to go in a certain direction with comedy, and like I said, that's going to come whether we want to or not. I think everyone's kind of getting to that point where it's like, cancel culture was the jokes, and then COVID was the joke for a while,
Sure.
and now it's kind of those two things have been it for the past few years.
Well, and everyone had to have their Trump/Biden piece.
Of course,
as well,
yeah,
too.
everyone had their Trump, and then it's just like every social issue doesn't have to be a comedy bit. Like we can stop being so woke with our comedy. I feel like is another big.
Well,
trend.
yeah, and I feel like too. Again, it's that focus away from what I am observing about the world around me, and instead of kind of focusing the lens more inward.
Yeah, definitely.
Into kind of like what I'm saying out there and what my impact on the world kind of is, kind of thing, and that more open vulnerability sort of stuff.
And one of the first stand-up comedians that I like really enjoyed when I was younger, like around middle school, was like Jim Gaffigan. And like looking back at his comedy now or like his new stuff, it's like it's funny, but like it's such a different style of comedy that he's stayed very on brand, where it's just like, oh, he knows he's making jokes about his weight and his
stays in his lane.
He stays in his lane, and like there's something to respect about that. But like we need more things like that, where it's just like you have your life experiences. Like let's observe the world and report back through comedy, kind of thing. And it's just like everyone's kind of taking a step back from that to like look at the world instead of observing it. And obviously those two terms are synonymous, but like there's a difference there where you're kind of like trying to, like you said, reflecting the lens back towards what you think about everything, where it's just like, what do you see? And like just go throughout your day-to-day life and get comedy bits from there. You don't have to be looking at every social conflict or everything, every social movement and just being like, oh, let's pick this apart, see what jokes and clever things we can make about it. So yeah, good question. But I liked Bill Burr at Red Rocks.
Oh, there you go.
To end all that, it was good. Not my favorite set of his that I've seen, both pre-recorded and there's no. You watching Bill Burr will never be the same as seeing him in person, because being in that atmosphere with him is just like, I don't know if I've told this on pod before, but like he is just so funny as a natural human being.
Sure.
That anything that comes to his head is like really, really funny. And so you could tell, I've seen him twice, maybe 3 times, I think, at least twice. And both times it was just like, you could tell maybe 40 to 50% of what he was saying was actually like scripted material that he was working on. And the rest was him just riffing and doing some crowd work, and him doing like, one time me and my brother saw him in Grand Rapids, Michigan in a church.
Okay.
And like he just like made fun of the fact that he was in a church, and then he did a whole Hitler bit on the altar. There was like a giant chair, and he like he just made up a whole Hitler bit on the spot. And it was the funniest. It was the hardest I've ever laughed in my entire life, probably. Like the whole church is just dying laughing because he's just so naturally funny. Yeah. And like when someone is that naturally funny and you're in that environment and everyone around you just
amplified.
It's just you. There's no kind of like, there's nothing to match that kind of environment to be in. Like anything that came out of his mouth at that point, I was going to be laughing regardless of what it was. Like he built up that energy in the room that it is unrivaled to anything else I'd ever like.
Crushing.
He's crushing it, dude. just nailing it, just killing. But yeah, so seeing him in person and then like watching this special, I'm just like, damn, like makes me want to see him live again because he's just that funny in person.
But what else you been watching?
The Rehearsal. Speaking of comedy,
the Nathan Fielder one.
It is the new Nathan Fielder show. Nathan for You, if you've seen it. This is the same guy. HBO has given him a budget for a new show called The Rehearsal. The premise is as such: what if you have something in your life, a conflict, say, you're trying to confront your roommate about doing the dishes. That's just a random example. His method is why wing it when you could recreate the exact encounter down to the detail of the room and the temperature of the room and the chairs and the dishes in the sink and how dirty they are and what all this stuff. He'll recreate that, and he hires actors, and then the person who's like trying to confront the roommate, he will like put them through the conversation with all of these different scenarios of what the person could say and how they could react. So you are prepared for literally anything that happens when that encounter happens. So like the first episode is a guy who is trying to he's been lying to his trivia group for 12 years or more that he has a master's degree because he thought he wouldn't be accepted into the trivia group.
Guys, it's time I make a confession to the Back Row Banter crew.
And so like he recreates, the setting he's going to tell this person because he's scared how they're going to react. And then that's like the first episode to kind of set up the show for what the rest of the season is. And then in the second episode, you discover there's kind of an overarching rehearsal through the rest of the season, which is this, I think her name's Zoe, man. Oh, I forgot her name. Might be Allie. I think it's Allie. She's this woman who she's like a single in her 30s and she wants to have, her dream is to have like a kid, but hasn't found a husband or anything. So he is like simulating her raising a child. Wow. And no, it's genius. Like he gets a house in Oregon, moves her out there. The kid starts as a baby, and so she's raising a baby, and then there's child labor laws where like babies can only work like 8 hours or like 4 hours at a time technically when they're acting. So they have to like get 2 babies and they have to switch them out without her knowing like all this stuff. And then every week the baby ages 3 years. And so they bring in new child actors to play the same kid. And so that's like the storyline of basically the rest of the season. I think there's only 4 episodes out. I've seen them all. It's pretty good. It's not Nathan For You level of gold for me because, dude, the things on Nathan For You were just hilarious. Like that show, as I've said on pod before when I was watching and putting what we're watching, like that was a show I'd watch alone and I would laugh out loud as I'm like alone watching it, which doesn't happen with a lot of things. And this isn't quite there, but it's still very good and definitely worth a watch. And episode 2 has some wild characters who are actually real life people.
Yeah, I've heard through Twitter that they're talking about that.
Yeah, there's a guy in episode 2 who's just a little not crazy, but like just like wow that he exists. Like that's a person, and those are thoughts and words and things he says, and
I mean, all
life.
4 of us interact with the public on a daily basis, and I feel like we do come across those people every now and then. They're just like, you're a real human.
Yeah, like that. Like somehow you ended up here, So
anything else?
That was it. I say I got home and watched things, and I did. Obviously, I watched those 2 things, but I've also been very busy because I've been working. I got home. And I started working the next day immediately, and I barely just finished my internship. I've still got some small things to do, but I basically was up till like 3 a.m. last night finishing the last projects of my internship, and now I'm done, and now I'll have more time to watch things.
For sure.
And play more Halo. I love Halo. I'm so good.
There you go.
Tyler, what you been watching?
I've gotten around to a couple of different things here. Excuse me. Over the last week. But I think Nathaniel and I obviously had Prey in common, which I think I put it in a friend group chat and like everybody started watching it. So then I had a couple different people text me or call me about their opinions, i.e. Foley and Justin. But,
Ryan Foley, friend of the pod.
What did they think?
Good friend. They were both thumbs up, which I am too. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I thought it was really great. I thought it was a very unique kind of point of view that we haven't seen from the Predator umbrella yet, which I'm always a big fan of. But yeah, it was I think because it was back, in a time period where weapons and things were just kind of coming to a certain advancement. Anything you kind of get like when you get that kind of time period, it's always very cool to see, how raw essentially it is, and kind of
for sure
kind of the crazy shit that people had to go through. But yeah, pretty good movie. I thoroughly enjoyed myself, and the hue lights look good in green. So
yeah.
I got around to like one of those random Netflix movies because they're super easy to put on during dinner, and I don't have to look for something for like 45 minutes until my food's fucking cold and I can't eat it. But this was a Kevin Hart and Woody Harrelson team up, and it's the man from Toronto.
Yeah. How is that?
It wasn't like terrible. It's not like the worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life, but it's one of those movies.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a Netflix exact model. It's like, it's not
100%.
terrible. It's not the best thing ever. It's just there.
They literally like watched fucking Anchorman, and they're like 60% of the time works every time.
That sounds like a good enough strategy for me.
And there's just that one guy in the office that says, I'm going to be honest with you, that doesn't make any sense.
And he's the one that gets thrown out the window like that.
Yeah.
Meme. Yeah.
So, I got around to one of those movies. We also got around to like one of those little documentary series that we always watch on Netflix. This one is The Most Hated Man on the Internet.
Isn't that the like revenge porn thing?
Yeah, it's about this website that was up in like the early to kind of like mid 2000s, and it's this guy named Hunter Moore who started this website called isanyoneup.com, and you could literally like post. You could send him like nude photos of like your ex, and then he would like fucking put it on there.
Oh god.
Yeah, I heard about. Is this a doc?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I heard about this.
Yeah.
On another podcast I was listening to. Yeah. How is it though overall?
I thought it was pretty good. It's it's definitely, a whole deal. I think it's like 3 episodes, so it's really not even that bad. I think they're all about an hour. So
he's just a scumbag then.
Oh dude, he's just a bag of shit. And like
for sure.
It's like it escalates so quickly.
Sure. Well, how could it not? I feel like
that's just... it's wild. And the website is not active anymore. So
oh, well, good. Is he in jail? Like bits of spoiler.
He is currently not, but he did serve time.
Okay. But like if we could like talk to someone and maybe like take him out or something. I don't know. Allegedly.
We'll call Miles.
There we go.
I've been watching a lot of streaming lately too. Just Tim and the boys, and since I'm like in training all day for work right now, it's just like it's super easy to have on my phone while I'm doing stuff for work. So been super easy. And then Nick's been going for like 12 hours today already. So just putting an insane run to Predator right off the bat for the new season for Apex, which is always fun to watch, which I think Nathaniel might have up on.
I do have it up on the background,
yeah. I can see it reflecting off the poster behind you.
We've been watching intently.
The Demon Slayer poster behind me.
It just looks, which congrats. You guys got the 3rd poster up. So I know it hasn't been up there in a minute.
Yeah, well, I finally just, sank a couple screws into the wall and threw it up there. So
said, fuck it, I'm over it.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, and then the last thing that I got to, we actually mentioned in kind of what's coming to streaming, and I watched the original Men in Black.
Love it.
Ooh.
Classic.
What made you want to watch that? Threw it on to see if Leah would say no or not, and
kind of. It was one of those ones where, like, it was like, what do you want to watch? What do you got a feeling for? And she said comedy, and I was like, there's like nothing...
Right, yeah.
that I want to watch right now that's like comedy. And like when I'm scrolling through the comedy section, I'm like this.
Yeah.
This. Finally, I said Men in Black, and she's like, that's not a comedy. And I was like, it's literally under it. It's under it. What do you want me to do?
It's this or 8 Netflix original comedies, so figure it out.
So
NYPD.
So yeah, she let that one fly, and so thankfully she lost interest pretty quickly, but she's had a lot on her mind this week. So she took her boards, and today actually,
wow,
and she passed. So
awesome.
I'm
Congrats, Leah.
Very proud of her, and she's been busting her ass, and it was really good news. So
yeah, it's dope.
That is awesome.
Congrats.
Yeah, but fucking dude, Men in Black is just so
great.
Good.
Yeah.
I fucking
Will Smith,
love it,
Tommy
dude.
Lee Jones.
How does the special effects in that movie hold up?
They're not terrible.
Yeah, I don't think they're too bad. A lot of it's practical.
A lot of it's practical, right?
Yeah.
Wow, it's almost
for the
like
most part.
practical
You do
effects
get into
age
like
great.
the beginning, like the very intro where you get the dragonfly flying around, which looks pretty bad, but everything else looks great still.
I will knock your punk ass down. Still one of my favorite
Yeah,
ones.
I just love it so much, and like the whole the only just the whole thing. But like my favorite parts are like when Edgar gets like fucked up, and then he goes into the house and he's like, sugar.
Yeah, sugar water.
Water.
Edgar, your skin is hanging off your bones.
More.
His whole face back. Is that better?
and I was quoting it, and I haven't seen that movie in God knows how long, but it's just like one of those movies that stuck with you. And I'm like quoting it, and Leah's just like, I just can't right now. She's like, how do you know this movie that well? Like, it got to the point where he's trying to convince him. He gives him the folder, and he's like, yeah, no, I'm good. Like, I'm just gonna get up out of here. Yeah. And he's like, you want any coffee? And he's like, no. And he goes into the door, and I quote the worms in their language. And it comes out, and she's like, what the fuck?
There's so many great bits in that. The part where he shoots then they're doing the training exercise, and he shoots the one little girl with the quantum physics books. That guy, he's not snarling, he's sneezing, and he's just trying to get a workout. Anyways,
he's just how would I feel if somebody came in the gym and busted my ass while I'm over the treadmill?
Anyways, great movie. We should do it for the pod at some point, maybe. But
I love it
for sure.
But that's all I got around to. So Blake, what have you been watching?
So I got to a handful of things this week, just kind of for how much I feel like I'm viewing. For starters, the first thing I got this weekend, it actually came up on YouTube, just kind of watch my regular podcasts, things of that nature. YouTube does have free movies every once in a while. And I don't know if that's because you have premium or if it's just regular YouTube. Can't confirm. But they had Halloween H2 on there. So that's Halloween 20 years later. So that's the one
with Coolio.
No. LL Cool J.
LL Cool J, that's right.
Yeah, not Coolio. That'd be hilarious if this movie had Coolio.
I swear there's a Halloween with Coolio in it.
There's one with Busta Rhymes.
That's what I'm thinking of. That's embarrassing, but
So nonetheless, this one, I mean, I think it'd be the first one they bring or second one they bring Jamie Lee Curtis back after the maybe first two or something like that. Nonetheless, it's 20 years after the original. It's got my man Josh Hartnett in there,
that's right.
I love as well, which is very rare. And I actually do think I read something that he's going to be in open. So I think he's going to be in Nolan's new movie, and like I'm fucking in for that, just because I love him as an actor. Got to that on HBO. Not great, not my favorite Halloween movie by any means. It was something I just kind of had on as filler. Outside of that, I got to I watched Carrie, so that's going to be the original.
Oh, with Sissy Spacek.
1976. I'm sorry.
I said with Sissy Spacek.
Yep, correct. Yep. So watch that. That was a rewatch for me. That's the first time I saw that in a very long time.
Isn't John Travolta in that too?
That one. What's up?
Isn't John Travolta in that too?
I'm sorry. He is. And I watched that. Oh my God, is that John Travolta?
Yeah.
But that's one I've seen a handful of times, and it came up on Tubi, and I was debating between watching the original, the remake from like the early 2000s, or the remake from like 2013 or 2014. And I think, oddly enough, I've seen all three of those, and I was like, you know what, I'll just rewatch the original. Nonetheless, horror classic, right? That's another Stephen King joint. Outside of that, another film I got to is a film that I've been meaning to get to for a very long time. I wanted to watch it the week we watched Men, but I couldn't find it anywhere, so I settled to rewatch Annihilation, and that's going to be a film from Alex Garland called Ex Machina. And I got to that film, and that's one of the best films I've seen in a while.
Right.
I would say
that film's so good.
Yeah, that's awesome. I watched it literally after I called my dad and we talked about it. I was like, have you seen this movie? And he was like, yeah, I've seen it. And we had like a really long talk about it.
Sure.
Yeah, that's an awesome movie. I would just, off first glance, I would put that up with Arrival and Blade Runner 2049 as my favorite sci-fi movies from the 2010s.
Wow.
So
pretty cool.
Yeah. So yeah, that's awesome. Really good. Not super long either, as well as like an hour 40 something minutes,
right?
Which is also awesome. Like going forward, it's like I don't have to dedicate like an entire night for this thing or something of that nature. But yeah, really cool. Oscar Isaac's awesome.
I was just going to say Oscar Isaac's so weird and creepy in that too.
That's probably the best role I've seen him in, to be honest with you. Just in terms of him being able to play like a complete narcissist douchebag, but who's also a pretty cool homie. So like it's like a really weird dynamic they have. Yeah, that's awesome.
And I feel like
the questions he raises on like AI and human interaction.
He's just like the blueprint for like every Silicon Valley bro that like you hear about nowadays. That, like embezzled $50 million from the fucking government or some shit like that, but like also came out with a pretty decent piece of tech. Like yeah,
absolutely. So yeah, that's awesome. And then it's got, I believe the lead who's playing the AI is that Alicia Vikander?
It is, yeah, Alicia Vikander, and
that's what I thought. I was like, oh, that's the same lady in Tomb Raider.
Yeah. And then Donald Gleason. I
wasn't familiar with him by any means. Do you know what else he was in?
Yeah, he's been in a kind of a ton of stuff. He's in an episode of Black Mirror. He's in the new Star Wars series as General Hux. He's in Harry Potter. He's in Harry Potter at one point. But he is Brendan Gleeson, who's a famous kind of Irish actor's son as well too. Which people would know Brendan Gleeson if they've seen him. He generally kind of plays big, charismatic people. But he's great as well too.
Yeah, cool. But yeah, nonetheless, Ex Machina, that's awesome. That's on HBO Max. He just went into new to streaming. So I think it just like popped up in my HBO Max on like what's new. And I was like, oh my God, I'm finally going to watch this.
Yeah.
But yeah, awesome. I'd recommend that to anybody. Outside of that, I got to another movie that was new to streaming. I actually watched Easy A. I needed something that's like lighthearted to put on like Thursday night, just to kind of have something on the background.
Back Row is running all over the new streaming list this week.
Hey, Easy A is
HBO
great.
Max came with some. HBO Max came correct, fellas.
They took
Easy A, rewatch that.
American Pickle.
It's funny. Yeah, that movie's funny at all times, and that's one of the. That's probably the second or third film that I went in. Knowing who Emma Stone was.
Sure.
Right? Well, like in hindsight, I now realize she's in Superbad. When I watched Superbad, I know that was Emma Stone, right? It's probably Zombieland and then this, just off the top of my head, is kind of the time frame I have. But yeah, that's awesome. I love Emma Stone. She's hilarious.
Kind of one of those weird things where like Amanda Bynes was probably the bigger star at the time. And like,
and I was watching that as well. Yeah, that was holy shit, that's Amanda Bynes. Yeah. That's a name I haven't heard.
Yeah.
I haven't even thought of that face in probably 15 years.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Smoke cigarette. Yeah. Haven't thought of that name in years.
Yeah, that was funny. But yeah, so that was a cool one to kind of have on. And then another one I got to was House on Haunted Hill, which is old. So not the original.
Okay.
I wanted to watch the original. I ended up watching the remake from '99, which I have seen before, and I put that in quotations for listeners. Like, I don't think I've seen the movie in its entirety, but I've definitely seen every scene in this movie.
Sure.
Maybe not at one sitting though. But that's one I just kind of put on for a late night horror. And it was okay. That came out in '99. That's a very 99s 2000s movie where like we were just talking about pitch black and like strobe light effects, and like it was in the time where like somebody's being chased and like it cuts to like super fast choppy scenes, like the people like moving out of place. Really weird, just super 2000s. Not a great movie by any means, but nonetheless something that was pretty cool, and it had a lot of people who were predominant in horror movies at that time. There's people from Final Destination in that. There's people from the faculty in that movie, things and so forth. Another movie I got to was Prey. So I got to Prey, which was, I knew I was going to watch that one.
I guess everyone else watched it except for me.
Yeah, so I got home Friday night and I was like, I'm definitely going to, you know what I mean? So I went back, turned it on. And I don't know, I probably could say that, maybe outside of Ty, but I'm probably the biggest Predator Alien fan, just being a fan of like the xenomorph lore, being a fan of I believe the Predator, I believe it's pronounced Yautja. Just being a fan of their lore, kind of their planet and species and things of that nature. So this is one I was really into. And honestly, it was pretty good, man. I agree with Ty, Foley. I agree with everything Nathaniel said as well. I would say this is the second best Predator movie, in my opinion, outside of the original. And I think you could probably argue it's as good as the original. It just makes it a little difficult because it's almost the same movie, right? Just in a different time period. But that's what makes it good, because it kind of skips all the fluff and like all the extra stuff. It's like, hey, these people, they're in a jungle. There's something hunting them. They finally realize it. How are they going to overcome it?
Sure.
Right. But yeah, so nonetheless, got to that. That's good. That's one I'd recommend. To Ty's point, yeah, I did kind of have to suspend some disbelief, which I believe I said a week ago on there, just how I'm going to feel about a Predator in that time period. But just being a fan of them and kind of aware of that, where there's always with the Yautja and how they hunt. So it turned out fine. Great movie. The female lead was awesome in that movie, and I don't have the name pulled up in front of me, but she did great.
Naru, maybe something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know the actress's name, but
I believe it was Amber Midthunder. I know her last name is Midthunder. I couldn't remember her first name though.
Fair enough. But yeah, she did awesome. So yeah, that is cool. That's cool enough for me. I'm like, you know what? I'm interested in now seeing this movie just in different time periods. Give me a fucking Predator movie set in, I don't know, fucking 1950,
like fucking like
Japan,
pirates and
samurais,
like samurais and ninjas.
Give me
and
all of that. Yeah, for sure. And I just want to see how it adapts, how it hunts. So yeah, it's cool because it's the ultimate.
The Predator
hunter, right?
Predator sequels we should have been getting for years. Like,
for sure. Yeah, I said this is the second best Predator movie.
Easy. Yeah.
I think easily, and you could probably argue it's up there with the best.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm cool with it. I'm bored. No complaints. I did like the design of the face on this one. It's like a little more monstrous. It isn't like as humanoid.
Yeah.
It looks a lot like the not the super predator, but like the predators that were like outcasted in Predators with an S. Yeah. It looks much more similar like that Predator. I don't know how to describe that if you haven't seen that movie, but if you have, Nathaniel entirely, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. So yeah, cool. That's all I got too. I think that's it, right?
That's right. Main review segment.
That's main review segment. Welcome, listeners, to the main review segment here at Back Row Banter. Nathaniel, if the listener here is new, or maybe they just forgotten, can you give them a rundown of how the review segment works?
Speed run of the review segment.
Speed run of the review. Let's. We're at an hour 17, and we haven't even gotten to the review yet. It's gonna be a long one, so we're gonna have to go pretty quick.
Yep. So it's split into two sections. There's the non-spoiler section and the spoiler section. It's pretty self-explanatory. In the non-spoiler section, we'll go over the IMDb page, our initial thoughts on the movie itself, go around the squadron. Everyone has to recommend this movie, yes or no. There is no nuance on the internet. Then it's going to be spoiler time. I'll play the spoiler noise. We'll go into any bigger, deeper thoughts that we have on the movie itself, any plot twists or spoilers that we might have come across in the movie itself. And then even if you don't want to have it spoiled for you, do come back, though, because we're going to rank it up on our Entropy list, which is our big list of everything we've watched on the podcast ranked. How about that for a speed run?
Pretty good. This is Bullet Train, released in the year 2022. That's this year. It's a new movie. It's rated R with a runtime of 2 hours and 7 minutes. Directed by David Leitch and written by Zach Olkowitz. And it was based on the book by Kataru Asaka. I didn't know it was a book.
Neither did I.
But the more you know. The cast includes Brad Pitt, Joey King, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Brian Tyree Henry, Andrew Koji, who we've seen him on pod before, right? I recognize him.
Yeah, he's
something.
He's in Snake Eyes.
Thank you. I that's where I figured he was, but I was just making sure. So Andrew Koji and then Hiroyuki Sanada.
And that's where I would stop you before we get into any kind of spoiler territory for cast members from then on out. Besides Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny's also in this. And Zazie Beetz.
Bad Bunny and Zazie Beetz. Yeah, good call on stopping me because you're right. I would have read that last one, which is kind of a spoiler. It's not really a spoiler. It's just a surprise casting that you're not really expecting.
Sorry to cut you off. I think all of those people have been on the podcast before.
Yeah.
Besides maybe Aaron Taylor Johnson
or Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny's in Fast 9.
Is he?
I'm almost positive.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like another like side role. Yeah.
Well, Aaron Taylor Johnson's in the first Godzilla, but I'm trying to think of what else he would be in.
Bad Bunny is in Fast 9.
He's in. Yeah, and Aaron Taylor Johnson is in Tenet.
He is. Yeah, he is in Tenet.
He's the captain, the lieutenant guy.
That is correct. Yeah. That is correct. Yes.
They're all here.
So, yeah.
It's a reunion. It's an Entropy list reunion. You know, a bit of this, a bit of that. Hiroki Sanada, of course, is in quite a few things. He was on Mortal Kombat.
He always plays the same guy. Just kind of a Japanese man
exactly
with a lot
what
of.
I said when I saw
and
him,
you know what? He plays it really well.
Oh, he's incredible.
He's incredible.
Yeah.
So I wish he was in every movie. The IMDb summary reads as follows: 5 assassins aboard a fast-moving bullet train find out their missions have something in common. I like that. Good one. One sentence, short, sweet. You get to the point. To fill in the gaps a little bit, this is a fun comedy action movie with Brad Pitt and everyone else that I mentioned. There's some fun action. There's some fun comedy. It's all on a train. Things go places I didn't expect them to go. Like, it escalates pretty quickly in the second half.
Yeah, if you've seen the trailers for this, you kind of understand what you're in for.
You kind of understand the gist.
I would say, yeah.
But also, the trailers do not show everything.
No, not
by any means,
not
which is great.
Slightest. Yeah, this is in the vein of the Tarantinos and the Guy Ritchies.
Sure.
Of the world.
That's a great. Yeah, no, that's a great comparison to make. Yeah, where it kind of starts as one thing and it quickly goes in a very different direction almost. Yeah, where you're kind of it just escalates a little bit and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a fast talking pastiche of different action genres, all set on kind of a locked room mystery in some ways.
Yeah, a bit of a Agatha Christie kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, a bottle episode, if you will.
Sure, yep. Love it. This was fun.
Yeah.
You can just get right into the non-spoilers. We all had a great time watching this together. It was me, Nathaniel, Blake, and then the special guests of Brandon Wozni, friend of the pod, and Joey Ganomsky, friend of the pod.
Also true.
So we all saw it together. Tyler was lame and saw it like 3 hours before us for some reason, but you know, I'm not
because I was off.
so was I.
Well, then that's your fault.
All right. Well, anyway,
Tyler was riding solo. He was riding
solo.
He was in the first class package.
I love watching movies with people, like no doubt, but I absolutely love going to the movies by myself.
Me too. I'm never opposed to it. At this point, I'm used to it, and you know, I like going with other people, but then I feel like if it's like I ask like 1 or 2 people and they're like no, or I know no one else is gonna go want to see a movie, I'm like, that's not an issue at all. I'm gonna go by myself and have a great time. But yeah, this was so much fun. Like I knew I was gonna have some fun. I was very open to it, but I didn't think I was gonna have that much fun. And I was a little nervous because the movie started off in the first like 20 minutes or so. I was like, I can see myself getting to this, but I'm also like not loving it. And then slowly but surely, it was one character after another and one line after another, and it really wasn't until I'm not gonna that's more of a spoiler thought, but yeah, it slowly built up to like we're like 45 an hour into this movie. I'm like, I'm in. They got me, and I'm along. Now I'm along for the ride. Now I'm on the train. I'm there. We're going, and I can't wait to get off. And we got off eventually, and I was like, had a grin ear to ear. It was so much fun.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think you hit the nail on the head, and just like I don't remember having this much fun at the movie theater for a while. I think. Yeah. In just terms of it's slapping a grin on you and just kind of riding that out for the rest of it. It's a romp. It's a romp. It's a romp for sure. I thought kind of contrary to your overall thing, I think for me the first hour was just so much fun, just like so tight, so well done. I thought it a little bit dragged toward the end. I thought it kind of lost a little bit of steam towards the end of it, which
it has a sweet spot in the middle for sure. I needed to be bought in
Yeah, of course.
I wasn't completely bought in right away, obviously. I'm never going to be 100% bought in.
Well, you are just, Detective Adam.
Of course. Yeah. Not in that sense, but I was trying to get on board to like the sense of the movie, the vibe of the movie.
Sure.
And it wasn't quite grasping me the first 30 minutes or so.
Okay.
After that, I was like, I see what we're doing. I'm open to it. And then you're right, you hit that sweet spot. In the end, I can see what you're saying. It dragged a little bit for me. I was still having fun through and through. But
yeah.
Yeah.
I think the unsung heroes of this are actually Aaron Taylor Johnson and Brian Tyree Henry.
Yeah.
I think they do a lot of the heavy lifting.
They really do.
They're both excellent and just chewing scenery left and right. And
what's funny about it is like that was part of the bit in the beginning that I wasn't completely bought into.
Sure.
Their whole, the reason that we were fruits at the beginning is because they have a fruit bit going on.
Yes.
And it wasn't working for me right away. It really wasn't. I was like, this is the comedy that we're going for, like this kind of shit. But they committed to that bit so hard throughout the film. I'm not saying the actors did. Like the movie committed to that bit, and the actors like played that off so well that it really worked. And slowly but surely, one fruit line and one fruit joke after another, I was like, okay, I see what they're doing. Like I love these characters now. And then as they added more characters, I understood the dynamics of a little bit of like how this movie was kind of going to form around, and I definitely bought in. But yes, you're right. Those two were great together. Anytime they're on screen, either together, especially, but even separately, like when they're interacting with other characters, like you are focusing on them, and with Brad Pitt on screen too.
Yeah.
You're kind of like, oh, I want to know what they're gonna say instead of Brad Pitt, which is really impressive.
So I'm guessing you're a recommend?
Oh, without a doubt, recommend.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going to qualify that because it's kind of like the one bite everybody knows the rules thing from Barstool,
Yeah.
where we say binary yes or no, and then we always qualify it with something else. I don't think this is for everyone because this is a very niche style of comedy almost. But the biggest thing I could say is like same director as Deadpool. If you've seen Deadpool, you know the kind of comedy this is.
Deadpool 2.
Deadpool 2. Sorry. But even Deadpool 1 kind of has the same kind of idea to it. So
and
if
half of John Wick.
And half of John Wick. So if you like that style of comedy, you already know what you're signing up for, and I would say definitely recommend. And if you haven't seen Deadpool and you're not sure, then just go watch it and you'll find out because it's fun. You don't have to take it seriously. This is not a serious movie at all. You'll enjoy yourself.
Yeah, I think just picking off that real quick. I think he just on the podcast talked about I watched Snatch again recently, which is Guy Ritchie's first movie, and I think this does have quite a lot of in common DNA-wise with that era as well too. And if you like any of those stuff, I think you would enjoy this movie as well too. Brad Pitt's great in it. Like we said, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Brian Tyree Henry.
Brad Pitt is great in this.
Yeah, no,
Brad Pitt's
awesome.
the best.
It's really, really great. I think it has just a little bit of kind of enough like idiosyncrasies and kind of just offbeatness to kind of draw you in and be that kind of fun comedy action. And big fan. I really had a good time with this and would qualify it as a romp. So I would give it a recommend, and I will kick it on over to Blake.
Yeah, I'm in. I was in on originally. I think I was probably one of the pioneers of pushing to get this one on the pod, but I think that's obviously because it has Zazie Beetz in it. But yeah, I'm in. It was really cool. Funny, very comedic. The action's good. The gore is good. I went in kind of blind. I'd probably recommend that to most people.
Yeah.
For the most part, I think
sure.
you're going to get much more value out of the film the more blind you go into it. So that's one thing I would say. But yeah, overall, I recommend it. It was a very fun viewing in the theater.
There is one joke I hated in this movie, and I will talk about it in spoilers. But
okay.
Yeah. Tyler, as the man that saw it by himself.
Yeah, I think I was pretty in on this pretty early on. I kind of had high hopes for it to begin with, kind of going in on it. But I mean the writing is really well done. Obviously, there's a lot of big names in here and a lot of good up and comers, and like Aaron Taylor Johnson, some people that you kind of forget about because you don't really remember what they look like because the last time you saw him was in Jackass. Or not Jackass, Kick-Ass. Yeah, sorry. And
I was so confused for a second.
you know, you see him obviously in other things, but that was like his last reprised role and something that, you know, a lot of people enjoy. That thing's got like a cult following like you wouldn't believe.
Sure.
But I mean, like, yeah, dude, he kicks ass in this. Like you said, him and Brian Tyree Henry definitely do a lot of the heavy lifting that you didn't really think that they would do just based off of kind of like what you would go into this, just looking at it at face value. But they do an awesome job. It's really, really hard to recognize Michael Shannon with the long hair. But I think he did.
I'm bleeping that out. That was part of the spoilers.
Oh.
Yeah, but we'll talk about it.
He's in the cast. Whatever.
Yeah,
well, I said he's got long hair. I don't know. They don't know who the fuck he is.
All right, fine. I'll leave it in. I don't care.
You can take it out. I don't care.
No, I don't. I could care less. I mean, it's such a small thing.
One of my favorite ones that's kind of like super, just not anything that anybody would think of is Karen Fukuhara. She's in The Boys, and that's what I've seen her in. She's Kamiko in The Boys, and she does a phenomenal job in there. So she plays a really small part in this, but still really good to see. But yeah, overall, I'm in. Action's fucking awesome. You get obviously around to some of the CGI parts where you're like, but overall, super, super nitpicky. But yeah, dude, I had a fuck ton of fun with this one.
Yeah, I agree. It's just a good time. Good all around bit of a blast.
Yeah, we got 4 of them. 4 recommends all around. So yeah,
I don't know if I would have guessed that necessarily going into this, just because I didn't fully know what to expect.
I had lower expectations.
I did, and then maybe that helped. Maybe expectations really do affect kind of the outcome, for better or for worse.
They do. Absolutely, they do.
Either way, 4 recommends. So if you've not seen Bullet Train, do yourself a favor. Go watch it. It's a great time. You're going to enjoy yourself like we did. And if you haven't seen it yet and don't want it spoiled for you, go ahead, check that episode description where I've left a timestamp you can jump to where you'll be taken to the ranking of the movie. Hop upon the Entropy list.
Hop upon.
Spoiler time.
Shit goes down
on a train.
On a bullet train.
On a bullet train. We need bullet trains here. We need lots of trains here. Trains here, trains there, trains everywhere. I want a transcontinental train.
Well, I think we have that, but it's just
what, the
not
Amtrak?
as slow. Yeah.
No, give me hyperrails, bro.
Slower,
Give me hyperrails. I need to be going like 110 at least.
Fair enough. Anyways,
cool.
Right? China. If China can do it, we can. Right? Wasn't that the whole thing? Bring back the Cold War. Or that was Russia.
Yep.
Bring back.
And I'm pretty sure Japan has the bullet trains, not China.
But China also has like a hyperspeed railway.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
and
good
so
for
that's
them.
like the big thing is like people who don't want it or like say we can't do it. They're like, Japan's a fraction of the size. And then like it's like, well, China's just as big, if not bigger.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
And it's like they have the same thing. So it's like, whatever was our excuse? We suck. Anyway, Bullet Train, man. I also want to say, I didn't mention this in the non-spoiler, I love the aesthetic of this movie. I'm a sucker for Japanese and everything like that, for like Japan culture and whatnot. But like,
oh yeah,
the what's the Yakuza like aesthetic with the
Yakuza.
Yakuza aesthetic with the bad guys and everything, down to like the masks, and then you get off the train and they're like wearing like biker jackets and they got the glasses on, and like one of the guys got a baseball bat, the other guy's got a samurai sword. Like I love that shit. I love when like anime is live action almost, and like that kind of aesthetic. So I once
hit it on the head with that.
Yeah, dude, it was like that. They nailed that down to a T. Just kind of.
They always use swords.
I like swords as they like cross cut that guy. That's a good one. That was probably, that moment specifically is probably when things turned around for me a little bit in the movie, when I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. When they're like retelling the number of people they killed, I was like, oh, so we're just kind of doing some fun shit. Like it's not, it's like it's not just an action comedy on a train. Like, oh, we're just gonna do like whatever. This is gonna be a fun thing.
I'd be very interested to see if that's present in the book as well too. Now that we know it is based off a book and everything,
I would be. I think it's based off a book, but it's got to be the loosest thing ever. I can't imagine I think so, right?
Oh.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like that's like maybe I don't know. Maybe that's the concept of it is like, a drug lord hires the 5 people most responsible for the trauma, and then like they just turned on its head and made it a fun romp. Because I
wouldn't be surprised if this was based off like a manga. Like if you would have said that, I would have been like, oh yeah, that makes fucking total sense.
Yeah, it definitely would. But yeah, the aesthetic here is great. Down to the bad guys, down to just the train and the things. Like, I don't know. I love the whole thing.
I love the idea of Brad Pitt is this like man trying to hold himself together. He's too stressed out about life.
Yeah, he's like a hippie. He's like a hippie almost.
Yeah.
He's like trying to like let go of all of his stress. Like I loved that bit throughout the movie when he's like, "There's a wall between us, and there's a window.
Yeah.
No, it's a door." Like that was good.
Just a man trying his best.
Yeah, he's really He's like, "Man, I just want to go find a Zen garden, Like, you know what? I feel you, Brad. I feel you, Brad Pitt.
It was awesome, man. I mean, like I said, I went in pretty blind. I think I saw maybe like one trailer for this or a teaser that didn't really dig into it. But I was on board as soon as the movie started, and we end up seeing Andrew Koji's character, the father, and then it shows him, and it shows the father written in Japanese. Like, once I saw that, I was like, I know what kind of movie this is, and I'm sold.
That was some,
like, you know what I mean?
That was some John Wick shit that I immediately loved too.
Yeah,
because
John Wick, Kill Bill, Tarantino. I was fucking sold 55 seconds into this movie.
Yeah,
and
that definitely.
Whatever you fed me, I was gonna.
That had the signposts or the warning signs of a good movie for me. Where that was one of the things that eased me in. I don't know. There was just something about like the early on dialogue and plot build up in the first act where I was just like, oh, this is like almost like I don't know. Just wasn't vibing with it. And then once I understood a little bit more, what was going on, I was like, okay, I'm there.
Yeah. But it's awesome, and I guess kind of jump into it, right? So it seems like it's very Tarantino-esque. It's got a ton of comedy. If you've seen Deadpool 2, as we've reiterated, very similar to that. This movie is also gory as fuck, but makes sense if you've seen Deadpool 2, if you've seen a Kill Bill, if you've seen those types of things. And then just like to talk about the casting on this movie. The casting in this movie is fucking awesome. If you don't look at the cast before you see it,
don't look at the cast. Like we stopped at a certain point for a reason.
Infinitely better, yeah. So just because we're in spoilers, I mean, like
okay, let's go over the cameos.
With Channing Tatum is just fucking hilarious.
That was
right?
so
Where,
funny.
He taps the guy on the shoulder, and you're so invested into the story. You're like, okay, like I wonder who this guy. And then it turns and it's Channing Tatum,
and you're just like, oh my god.
Theater.
Yeah.
Dude, that was so funny for me because when I saw that, and then he is like. We're in spoilers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. That's what I thought you said, but I just want to make sure. I didn't hear the noise. But when he goes like, "Is this a sex thing?"
Yeah.
And then he like looks at him. He's like, "Oh no. Okay, all right, cool." And then later when he's like, "Is this the sex part?"
Yeah.
It was so funny because I was watching an interview, and they were interviewing Danny McBride when they were doing the This Is the End.
I was wondering about that too. I was like, why does he always play the weird sex guys?
Yeah, and they were like, they're like, who are we gonna get to play this part? And they're like, I don't know, man. And they're like, somebody was just like, call Channing Tatum. And they're like, what? And they're like, yeah, he'll literally like do like the weirdest shit, and he doesn't care. So they didn't even tell Danny McBride that they casted Channing Tatum for this. They had Channing Tatum wear the costume and go in to Danny McBride's room and start humping him and shit. And they were like, this is the character, like, this is who we got for this. And he started dying. So, like, apparently this is, like, a regular thing for Channing Tatum to just do, like, these weird,
just
like,
one-off cameo roles.
That's
bits
hilarious.
for cameos for
good
movies.
for him.
Yeah, and he just, like, doesn't give a fuck.
That's so funny. That makes me love Channing Tatum way more.
So, yeah, that's awesome to see.
But I almost think the Ryan Reynolds...
Seeing Michael Shannon... Oh, go ahead.
The Ryan Reynolds cameo might have been better.
No, that was the one I was like, I fucking hate that.
I was going to get to that last.
You hated that?
Yeah, him as Carver is fucking hilarious.
I just, like, part of me just grinds me the wrong way up that just Ryan Reynolds is always the asshole guy, and like that's just like his role in Hollywood now.
He's the but like that wasn't the he's an asshole guy, sure, but like that wasn't like the joke they were making, really. I don't know. I just thought it was hilarious that like they just made him such a small role.
No,
and of course the guy that like he's like Brad Pitt's subbing in for, like of course the guy that he's supposed to get might get killed for is Ryan Reynolds. Like, and the way he takes off his helmet and just like grins like the Ryan Reynolds. I don't know. That was all perfect for me. I absolutely loved that.
It was Hobbs and Shaw has ruined that for me. Where
was there a cameo like that in Hobbs and Shaw?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Another reason why I will never watch that fucking movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie.
Yeah. So he does almost the exact same cameo bit in that movie as well too.
Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah. Where he plays like a random CIA agent that like is just kind of an asshole character kind of thing.
Sure.
Which I think is also directed by David Leitch, so it's clearly a thing like they just like working together and he'll just show up in whatever.
Sure. Oh yeah.
But yeah, I was just like, okay, yeah, I've seen this bit before. Great.
Since I hadn't, it was great.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Sandra Bullock though. Love Sandra Bullock.
That was also funny.
Yep. Sandra Bullock as kind of like the assistant on the phone to Brad Pitt's character.
The handler.
Handler.
Seeing White Death as Michael Shannon was awesome.
Great, yeah.
And I couldn't help but think of once it was Michael Shannon. Great actor, awesome. I love him in everything he's in. The first thing I thought of was like, man, what if that was Willem Dafoe? Like that was like my first thought.
Oh my god.
But yeah, nonetheless, there's no problem with Michael Shannon. That was just an
just having a
very
ball.
What's up?
I said he was just having a ball too, like just chewing the scenery.
Yeah, for sure. With the long hair and everything.
Yeah.
You can anybody who partake in this movie had a shit ton of fun making.
I think so too.
And that makes movies fun too.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. So I guess do you guys want to like discuss the plot here? I mean, I
was gonna say we've all just kind of been saying it's fun, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, if you're in spoilers, you've probably seen
pretty
it.
Cool. It's interesting. A few twists.
Yeah.
So yeah, Michael Shannon plays the character White Death, who has risen up the ranks of the criminal underworld to run most of Japan's underworld, basically. And he gets all of the people that were either directly or indirectly involved with his wife's death all onto the one bullet train at a time so that he can take all of them out, basically. While simultaneously you have a subplot where his daughter is trying to get back at him by involving his former the son of a guy that works for him who just happens to be a former associate of his, or whose father happens to be a former associate of his.
No, his father was a former associate of the guy he killed.
Yeah, who he took out to lead the underworld.
Yeah.
And Brad Pitt's in the wrong place at the wrong time, basically.
Yeah, that's also what's so funny to me about the subbing in thing is like you completely forget that's a line in the beginning of the movie that he's subbing in, and you kind of just dismiss it, and then it kind of comes back to you that like, oh yeah, he's actually not supposed to be here, and then it's Ryan Reynolds, like that's who he's subbing in for. Like it was just a perfect reveal, and it's also Ryan Reynolds wasn't there for very long. Like he was just kind of in and out, and then it wasn't like he became a character or anything. That's another part I liked about it a lot. I think one of my favorite bits from that too. I mean, I'm gonna let you keep going with this, but when one of the best lines to me was like when Sonata, the elder, was like, yeah, I forgot what the leader's name was, but he said, "I lost my stomach." He was right. But so was I. And then it's like him about to get shot in the back of the head by White Death. Because I like that line a lot. A lot of good lines in this one. You know, I thought that you guys like the Thomas the Train and Tank Engine bit.
Oh yeah.
I did.
That's a really good bit
for sure. And they're on a train.
Yeah.
So like,
I found the diesel.
I found the diesel.
Yeah.
What do you mean you don't know how to stop it? All you do is talk about trains.
It was just incredible.
Yeah. But I found a new brother. Really? Fuck no.
He jumps out.
Yeah, they're the Brian Tyree Henry and Aaron Taylor
Johnson.
Yeah, really bad Johnson. They're definitely the heart of the film.
And I just wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, both of them need to be in more things.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Brian Tyree Henry's been, just killing it on like Atlanta and all that stuff for a couple of years now.
That's where I'm very comfortable with seeing him in like very funny roles like that.
Sure.
So like I can totally see him do something like that.
Yeah.
Right. Obviously, the accent is like what he's putting on, but just as far as like being in a really awkward place at an awkward time in very funny settings, like that's 99% of Atlanta episodes.
Sure.
So this seems like something I could imagine he's totally at home with when he's doing a role like this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Aaron Taylor Johnson, I think, is just underrated, it seems, as an actor in some places.
I after watching this, I want to see him in way more things.
Yeah.
Way more things.
He's great in kind of Godzilla. Obviously, he was okay. He was decent as Quicksilver, even though he was killed almost immediately in Age of Ultron.
Dude, that didn't even register. That is him.
Yeah.
I didn't even put that together.
Yeah, that's him.
Isn't like
he's got blonde. He's got no. He
shot by a helicopter.
He saves
but
Hawkeye,
doesn't he
right?
trip on the rock and get shot?
No,
I think he's going to die, or he's going to pick up the little kid. Yeah, he's going to cover up the little kid that's going to get shot.
Little kid? I thought it was Hawkeye. Doesn't he save?
He pushes Hawkeye out of the way, and Hawkeye
Yeah.
grabs the kid. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, something like that. But yeah, and then he gets shot by the bullet, and then he goes.
You didn't see that
You
coming.
didn't see that coming. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it's because he's blonde in that movie, probably, and no facial hair. So
could be that.
He threw me off quite a bit.
But yeah, I think he's been. He's actually incredible in the film Nocturnal Animals. If you've never seen that, I haven't
seen it. I've heard that's really good though.
Yeah, that would be definitely one for Pod we could do as well too.
Sure.
But yeah, he's I think just a great actor and should be in more things. So hopefully he is.
Yeah. I actually I liked there a little bit at the end where he obviously dies.
Yeah.
And they are playing a song called "Forever Blowing Bubbles." It's an actual pub song from where they actually are in the movie West Ham, and the only reason I know that is because it's for their soccer team, which later you see that they're both kids and they're watching the soccer game, but it's like the go-to pub song for the West Ham team in their city.
Sure.
And the only reason I know that is because there's a soccer movie from like back in the day with Elijah Wood and
Green Street Hooligans.
Yep, Green Street Hooligans. Yeah. That they sing that song, and our buddies used to always, like, when we were like, at house parties and shit like that, and it was just like the crew has just left the boys. We just started singing that song.
That's incredible.
Shout out to that scene, because that is a cool ass little scene.
And I was like, what is this that they're playing? But thank you for giving me context. That makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah. Has anyone ever actually seen them? Are they sure they're twins?
Yeah.
That's a Brad Pitt's character. He's like, well, they don't know. I was like, well, they don't know what lemon
looks like.
You already know what the joke's gonna be. Then the camera cuts. They're both standing out there.
Yeah, dude. And then that bit where he's like, and if any of you blokes get any ideas, and he spins the lock, and of course it's the combination, like.
I've got this bad luck thing.
I've got this bad luck thing. And then I liked that thing at the end where he's like, the ladybug holds the bad luck.
This is a shit deal.
He's like, I don't want to be he's like, I don't want that. Oh, God.
So then even to kind of just deep dive on the plot more, right? So then we mentioned like Joey King. She plays the daughter of Michael Shannon, who's basically been like abandoned at a young age and feels like she's been shorted and things of that nature. So she's trying to set up her own kind of side thing going on the train where she plans on killing her father. She knows her father's going to come to this train, right, due to the different assassins on there. So she's kind of got a black pot going where she's pushed a little boy off a cliff or off a rooftop.
Right.
That little boy's father is going to find her. She's already aware of that. She plans on using it to kill her father. So yeah, that was cool. And we were kind of talking earlier, just Joey King in this movie is just like such a brat and annoying, spoiled person. Like where the whole time you're like, they're all the assassins are trying to figure out like who's who and who's doing what. Right. So as the viewer, you're aware that Joey King is like, okay, she's pretty much like the mastermind. She's the reason why everything's going wrong. Right.
She's the other Diesel.
So you're trying the other assassins, they're trying to figure out real time as the viewer. You see that. And it's just so annoying, like watching her get so close to getting caught every time, and then she just gets out of it. So you just get so annoyed of it as a viewer. And Yeah, so. But that came full circle when she fucking dies at the end because she's the last person to die.
That's true.
so that was also
and
fun.
She gets driven up.
Like, thank fucking God.
She gets crushed
and
by
then
a
it's cool that
tangerine
they show
truck.
at the end the little cutscene with Tangerine. He's literally just stops and he's like fucking Tangerine.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Good times.
That was awesome. I liked Zazie Beetz' quick thing because she's in there and one of those things where you're trying to figure out, I guess if you're a Zazie Beetz fan, where you're trying to figure out like, oh, I wonder like who she is. And there's always this segment of somebody in kind of like, there's like a cartoon, a local cartoon that airs in one of the trains. And somebody's dressed up in one of those costumes. And that happens to be Zazie Beetz. And that person's always like in a weird place at a weird time, like something. So you're kind of figuring out, sure enough, maybe like 50 minutes in, it turns out that it's Zazie Beetz. And then unfortunately, like 3 minutes later, she dies. So that was really sad for me. So yeah, nonetheless, that was something that was really
in the background,
cool. You finally pops the helmet off.
Yeah, and you keep hearing about a boomslang that's been kidnapped from a local zoo.
Yeah,
as
you
well,
know immediately when you hear that, that's coming up later.
Oh, yeah.
What is that rule where it's like a weapon introduced in the first act must be used in the third act?
It's Chekhov's revolver.
Yeah,
Chekhov's gun. Yeah, if a gun's introduced in the first act, it has to go off in the third act.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I love Bad Bunny and his character where he kind of just shows up.
We didn't even talk about that.
Yeah, he kind of just shows up and you're like, you have Brad Pitt's reaction where you're like, what is going on? Like, can someone explain what? I don't even know you. Like, can we explain what's happening? And then eventually it is explained what happens, and then they just kill him. like you don't know what's going on. You don't know who this guy is. They're about to get in a fight. It cuts to his backstory. You're like, okay, so he's the next character. Fight scene over. He's dead by the most dumb way possible, which is his knife ricochets back at him and stabs him in the heart. Oh God, which I fucking loved.
Yeah.
And then even Brad Pitt's like, what the fuck?
They do that.
Like, what a good
context. For like listeners, people who haven't seen this, where it's just like all of this is going on a train, obviously. So like, there's also the funny jokes of like the fucking train attendant like checking tickets,
Yeah,
and like people are like, oh shit, I don't have a ticket, and they're like trying to hide from a train. And there's also like funny gimmicks of like they're trying to accomplish things, and it's like in the quiet cart, so people are looking around like I'm walking here, like that joke.
Eat a bag of dicks, lady.
Like, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? So they're like trying to be quiet while they're fighting and things. Yeah, it just has so many jokes that hit home, man. This was the best theater experience I've had in a very.
I wanted to wait until we got out of spoilers to tell this story, but the man who saluted.
Oh, that was fucking funny.
Should we get out of spoilers? Tell that really quick.
We could tell that real quick.
Okay.
Anyone else have final thoughts on the movie?
Final thoughts?
No. Look, we could probably just wrap it up and put it on the list. And then we can talk.
We're running out of time.
That was very funny,
and we'll tell that story very quickly. So welcome back, listeners who skipped over the spoiler segments. Here we're gonna go ahead rank Bullet Train, hop upon the Entropy list. For those of you who do not know, the Entropy list is Back Row Banter's official list of every movie we have reviewed, regardless of genre, regardless of anything else, all on one fantastic list. This is essentially how we rate our movies. Rather than do it out of 5 stars, out of 10, whatever it is, we throw up all the movies we review on a list and see how they compare to one another. If you'd like to reference the Entropy list for yourself, you can do so by checking the episode description, where is linked to my Letterboxd. Before we rank it on the Entropy list, we do have a funny story to tell about our viewing of Bullet Train. Before the movie starts, in between the trailers, we saw it at the Dolby Cinema at AMC. No better way to see a film. Oh, cool. What was it? 3 hours before us, right, Ty?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And before, of course, at AMC theaters, before the movie starts and after the trailers end, there's a glorious little piece of propaganda. I don't know what you want to call it. Who's it? Is it Nicole Kidman?
Yeah.
Nicole Kidman.
Yeah. Sorry, the name escaped me for a second. Nicole Kidman has her little monologue of how great the cinema is and how cool AMC theaters are and whatnot. And every time I look forward to seeing La La Land on the screen, I go, I love that movie. And then that's it. And that's the only thing I can look forward to.
Heartbreak feels good in a place like this.
Heartbreak, it does feel good in a place like this. But this time around, it was extra special. It was actually something to look forward to, and I might have found a new tradition to carry on. So Nicole Kidman comes on, and we're like 10 seconds, 15 seconds into her thing, and Blake's tapping me on the shoulder like, dude, look. I'm like, what is he pointing at? And I had to like scooch up in my chair because I'd fully reclined it, and I looked down, and there's a man in like not the front row, but like the front or second row of like the actual main section, not the very front rows. Middle, sure. And he's standing up out of his seat, rigid as a Marine, saluting Nicole Kidman as she gives her little monologue about AMC theaters, and he stands rigid all the way up until what's the line?
The entire time. No,
the entire time until she gives her final line, right?
Yeah,
and then
until
he like saluted.
and he's like, because here they are.
Here they are, and then he finishes his salute and sits down. And I was like, what a legend.
Yeah, it was like Pledge of Allegiance style.
It was Pledge of Allegiance.
Sure.
That's exactly what I said to Blake. I was like, it's like he's doing the Pledge of Allegiance. Like, what the hell is going on? Or like the national anthem or something. And honestly, I respect it, and it was so funny, and I kind of want to do it now. I kind of think it'd be hilarious. Yeah. Now, will I actually do it? Probably not, because I have social anxiety, and that seems really awkward to do. But I applaud that man, because that really set me in the right mood for this movie. It really did.
I was going to say, that was very fitting for this movie, too.
No, it was.
Seeing that, then laughing, then kicking the...
Dude.
I mean, way different if it was in, like, Nope or something, right?
Right? Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's just like, I was, like, already down for whatever, and then I see this guy, and I'm like, you know what? Respect, because that's so hilarious. So anyway, let's rank this movie and get on out of here.
Real quick, I actively hate that fucking intro.
Oh, I do too.
It's
one of the
awful.
worst fucking things I've ever seen.
No, it's terrible.
And I've almost got it down to like the minute that you can go to. Unfortunately, you do miss all the previews, but if you're trying to get there like right when the movie starts and that fucking shit is like done, it's almost like it's like 30 minutes after your showtime is originally supposed to start, and you'll get there right at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Noted.
I'm
risky.
with you, Todd.
High risk, high reward. Yeah, it's awful.
No, it is truly painful to watch, and it makes me cringe.
That's why I appreciate this guy just leaning into it.
I do. No, I was like, this is satire at its finest.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So anyways, let's rank it hop upon.
Bullet Train, baby. Deadpool is the closest thing we could.
Yeah, I was thinking Deadpool.
Let it rip, Adam. I want to hear Adam go first.
Oh, I have no idea. I'm just not pulling it up. I was busy telling that story, so someone else who had more time.
My initial thoughts were in kind of like the same energy was actually Malignant when I first saw it on here too. And then I saw Deadpool up there as well too. And then Deadpool kind of kicks off our Suicide Squad, Shang-Chi, Multiverse of Madness, obviously superhero run there. So I really enjoyed this movie. I really had a good time with it. I don't think it's going to have kind of the staying power of some of those other ones that are kind of above that level. So maybe I think I put this at like... I think I had more fun with this than like Multiverse of Madness and Shang-Chi and stuff though too. So I would say maybe 33, but then I see stuff like Kill Bill Volume 2, Pig, Top Gun Maverick.
I'm having trouble putting it above Weathering with You.
Oh yeah, of course. So I think I'm going to put this at the end of the day. I think I'm going to go with it at 41, right below Top Gun Maverick, right above Tokyo Drift.
Yep. Good call.
And Yeah, I think on the personal list it might be in a little bit of a different place. But
that's exactly where I'm at. Where I'm like, there are definitely some movies I do want to move around here. But overall,
I think for the good of the list overall, that's where I'm gonna slot it in. Right at 41, right below Top Gun Maverick, right above Tokyo Drift.
All right, you're at 41. I'm gonna slot it in. I really have a hard time going above Weathering with You because not only is it Weathering with You, it's then The Power of the Dog, and I don't love Dr. Sleep. That's the one I would shift around. But then love Tokyo Drift, love Top Gun Maverick, love Pig, love Kill Bill. Like all of those movies are solid in their own right. And are very good films on top of that. And this is a romp, but it's there are other things included in this list other than like the fun factor. As much as I love this one, it definitely gets a 10 on the fun factor, but there's more to it. So 45 is going to be where I put mine, right below Weathering with You, because everything above that is just too good. This list is just too stacked.
Hey yo.
Blake or Ty?
Ty, you want to letter it?
I'm still kind of kicking it around here.
Yeah. I'm with you too, so I'll think aloud. At first glance, I was looking and I was like, okay, where is the Suicide Squad?
Sure.
Like, that was like the first thing I was trying to find, and I saw that at 36, and I was like, that's kind of high because I saw Kill Bill Volume 2 under that. Right. So that was like a personal thing that I had to overcome. And I'm like, okay. Then similar to Nathaniel, I was like, we're Malignant. Then I saw Malignant at 50, and I was like, I love that movie, but I think that's a little low on this list.
Sure.
So it's hard for me to put it below that, right? So then I was just kind of looking in the middle between like Power of the Dog, Dr. Sleep, Tokyo Drift. And then I feel like Tokyo Drift's usually like my gatekeeper for these type of movies that's like, hey, it's not a great movie, but I liked it.
Yeah.
Right? Or like it's just a fun movie, and I feel like Tokyo Drift's like the gatekeeper of that. I would probably put this above Tokyo Drift in that aspect. So with that being said, I think I'm gonna stick to that, and I'm just gonna throw it at 41.
Cool.
Well, I think I'm gonna end up being probably the highest, just because there are obviously other movies that I personally have a connection with, but I do have to agree with Nathaniel on some of these things. Some of these movies up here do have some really good stopping power, or staying around power. They've been around for a minute and they're still really good. This obviously just came out, but I do think that on like a second watch, third watch, not obviously right away, but further down the line, that this movie will probably end up presenting itself with some other things that we may not have seen on a first watch. And I think you might start looking this as like a Guy Ritchie kind of Quentin Tarantino-esque kind of level film. And it's really hard for me to not put it above some of these like multiverse, Shang-Chi, and
I hear you on that. That's what also killed me.
Yeah, I agree.
So, but like it's also hard to see like fucking Spider-Man up at 22, and I even think The Northman could probably come down a little bit, but yeah, so I'm actually gonna stick this thing at a 34. I'm gonna keep it below Boys in the Hood. Yeah. And I'm gonna put it above, kind of not garbage, but this is definitely better than those movies.
I like that. That was my gut answer,
Yeah,
but,
I'm with you too.
I like it. I agree with that.
You said 34.
34.
34, 2 41s, and a 45. And I think we're kind of all on a similar boat there, in that sense.
We will eventually take a gander at the
especially as far as like rewatchability. I am watching this movie before I watch anything in that 34, 35, 36 range.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that gives us an average of 40.25, which means we have to tie break it with Top Gun Maverick. I don't even know if I want to bother looking up the IMDb of Top Gun.
Top Gun. Sure that Top Gun Maverick's probably like a fucking 7.
I don't know if I ever read out the IMDb the IMDb rating on this, which is 7.5 actually, very high.
Oh, that's
good to hear.
Pretty high, yeah.
Yeah, good to hear.
I was gonna say, I think when I looked over the weekend, it was like a 7.4, so I'm not surprised that it went up.
Maverick 8.6. Holy shit!
What a ringer!
I was close to 8. 8.6 is nuts, dude.
That's so fucking high for IMDb. That's insane.
That might be the highest rated one we have on the podcast. That's like up there with like The Shining level.
It's up
The
there.
Shining, yeah. The Shining might actually be an 8.6 as well.
I have the
Inception's
I have
8.8.
the IMDb.
Shining's 8.4.
Yeah.
What? Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's juiced a little bit, I would say.
Maybe Inception at 8.8,
Yeah.
and then
Why are we asking these questions? I have the IMDb list. The highest is
enough.
Inception. Number 2 is Top Gun Maverick, and then it's number 3.
Fuck.
Then Whiplash, then The Shining,
Yeah, okay.
and then Django.
Anyways.
All right, 41 then.
Yeah, 41.
Cool. Where did it go? Bullet Train disappeared on my screen.
Well, Bullet Train's coming in at 41, below Top Gun Maverick, above Tokyo Drift.
Fantastic. Locked and loaded. Next week we are doing Bodies.
A movie I don't know much about.
wait to watch it.
Bodies.
Yeah.
A24 flick coming straight to theaters. Only to theaters. Wide release is starting this weekend, so you can go find that. Go check it out. It's going to be great. Should be, hopefully. I have no idea. I haven't seen it, so I don't know why I said that. It looks great. I'm excited. Well, I don't know if we have a 5-star review. Probably not, but we're going to skip it anyway. If you leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, you're going to get whatever you say right out loud on pod, or you can send us an email at backrowbanterpod@gmail.com. Share the show. Share with a friend, family member, a fellow assassin maybe, or, if you're just trying to chill out, relax, go to a Zen garden. Maybe other Zen people are there, and you guys are just trying to chill out and listen to a podcast. It could be a fun one. It could be a casual one like this one. It's very relaxing, I feel like. Very low stress,
True.
I don't think we make people stressed out.
Hope not.
I don't know. Maybe some of our opinions, I don't know. But, yeah. Follow the podcast. You can do so on Twitter at Banter Row, on Instagram at Back Row Banter Pod, and on YouTube we're just Back Row Banter. BlakeHolder, where can the people find you at, my lovely man?
Letterboxd, BlakeHolder. I'll be on there. Had some brief thoughts down for Ex Machina. As I told you, I felt very highly of that. So Letterboxd, BlakeHolder. If you want to play any video games, Instagram, anything of that nature, Mr. Waters, you can find me on there. Yeah, been playing The Quarry on PS5. Pretty fun game. It's like a horror.
Yeah,
it's like a horror movie game.
Yeah. Did you finally get a PS5?
I did, man. I broke down maybe 3 weeks ago or so. So yeah,
Nice,
I'll talk about that another time. But yeah, that's where you can find me. I'll pass it over to Nathaniel.
Yep, you can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at @NSGangrick. You can find me on Instagram at NathanielG92. You can find my other podcast, Sandpiper Tapes. Might actually have more stuff with that working sometime soon. So yeah,
Bit of sizzle.
Tyler, where can the people find you?
Twitch.tv/ultrabajo87. We do stream there, and we do have fun every now and then. And then Instagram, Letterboxd, and Twitter, all Tyler Vidalis, VIDALES. Adam?
You can find me on Twitter at Aish24. That's AYYSH. And on Letterboxd at Aish. And we're bringing it back. Twitch.tv/Aish. I'm back from DC, which means I'm playing Halo again, and means I will be streaming from now and then. Now again. I don't know what my competitive future looks like for this next few months. I will eventually go back to it, but I don't know if I'll be going to the next LAN event. That's TBD. Anyway, we can talk about that another time. We're going to go ahead and get on out of here because it's very late. I'm very tired, and I'm running on like 4 hours of sleep. Thank you all for joining us on this episode of the podcast. Episode 113. Getting up there. Join us next week for a review of Bodies, and we'll BRB.
Be excellent to each other, everyone, and we'll BRB.
Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate anything you can do to help us grow, as we do want to do that. And obviously, as you can see, we're consistent as shit.
We
so
are.
Hit us up. And just be good to one another. You never know where somebody's at in their journey, in their day, in their life. And we'll BRB.
Yeah, thanks for listening as always. We appreciate the support. Without you all, we wouldn't be able to continue this podcast. So thanks a lot. We appreciate it. We'll BRB.
I'm getting this new apartment. I have no idea like what the TV situation is. I'm pretty sure they give us like a piece of shit 10-year-old 43-inch Vizio, which is better than the piece of shit 32-inch Dynex in my DC apartment.
There you go, man.
So I guess it's an upgrade, and I'll have my OLED in my room, of course.
Right.
But like the main living room, I'm assuming my roommates are gonna want a nicer TV, so I don't know if we're getting one. I don't know if my one roommate I mentioned, I was joking like, oh, are we getting a 65? We getting a projector? Like, what are we doing? He goes, how much is a 65? I was like, are you serious? And I think he might want to buy one. He'll buy it, put it in the living room, and then he'll take that for himself.
Hey,
yo, dude.
So, yo.
that Adam's voice I hear.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he's over here as well too. He's just at my place, off screen.
So I think that he might be interested in doing that, which would be cool to have like a nice, decent TV.
No,
I'm sure it wouldn't be a decent TV because he's the type of person where he just wants the 75-inch.
You guys
It'd
should
probably be like a 66,000 series.
say fuck it and buy the Samsung little projector.
The mini one?
Yeah, that
I
you
was
could
thinking
put
about it, dude.
on the wall.
I was like, fuck it for a living room.
It doesn't like it. Honestly, we've tested it in the MDC. It doesn't look that bad
on a wall.
Yeah, and it like auto focuses.
How
and
much?
Stuff.
Wait, it's a Samsung projector. I didn't even know they made this
Yeah,
thing.
what is it? It's called like the Solo or something like that.
All right, how much?
I don't know. That's like
$6,000.
No, not that much. It's like 800 or something.
That's actually.
I mean, it's 1080p, but like.
Hey man, I got a 4K in my room. What do I need in the living room? You know.
And your big thing, obviously. would be
Freestyle,
audio.
is that it?
That's it. Yeah, freestyle.
Ooh, that's an interesting looking projector.
Yeah, it looks like a little can.
Yeah, it's like a can light.
Yeah.
You have that pathway up to your house, like one of those things outside. What is the employee pricing on here?
Probably
not enough to maybe warrant this. Oh yeah, it's nothing. I mean, it's on sale right now for $200 off, and that's lower than our employee.
Yeah.
Talk to Dan. He'll knock it down for you.
Probably.
Well, that's the thing. That's why I brought this up, is because an open box speaker came in today. And if you guys remember, I bought that one that goes up to like my waist. That's like 4 feet tall.
I don't remember you buying that.
Oh, it's the party box, the JBL Party Box 1000.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and it comes up to like my waist. It's like a 4 foot tall speaker. And
how is that thing?
It's awesome, man. It was like I think it retails now for like $1,300, and Dan sold it to me for like $500 or $550 or something like that.
You can't beat that shit.
Yeah, and then with the protection plan, it was like $600 that I split with my 6 roommates. We each paid $100. The best part about it, we used it all year, and that thing slapped.
Right. You got your money's worth.
That thing slapped. Like whenever we had parties, we put it in the basement, and my floor on the second floor of my house would shake because because it's got a 10-inch subwoofer on the bottom of it. Like it's insane. We would use it at tailgates at my fraternity house because, of course, Pi Kappa Phi Beta Epsilon at the University of Missouri has the biggest backyard in the SEC, as you know, as everyone knows.
Everyone knows that.
Everyone knows that. Well,
Common knowledge.
Well known.
I was going to say common knowledge.
Well-known fact.
Whoever doesn't know that's lived under the fucking rock.
Exactly. I don't know who doesn't know that.
Or went to a D3 school like me.
It's one or the other, yeah. But, I mean, if you're going to D3 school, you live under a rock, so... Anyway, so of course,
What's Greek life?
biggest backyard in the SEC. Of course, it's hard to fill that yard with sound, right?
I could for you.
You could, yes, but quite a bit more, quite a bit higher price tag. But of course, the JBL Party Box 1000 does it without a problem. Without a problem, the entire backyard. That thing's massive, and
you know what JBL stands for?
Just bouncing and living.
Junk but loud.
Junk but loud. I don't think they're that bad. I like them.
Yeah, they got bought by Harman Kardon a few years ago.
Did they?
So yeah.
Are they now under Samsung then, technically?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I hate JBL. They suck. So at the end of the year, we were like, what the fuck do we do with this 4 foot tall speaker? We're not living at the house anymore. I'm going to an apartment. All my 6 roommates are going to different places from last year. So I'm like, I don't need this in an apartment complex. Like, I'm never going to be able to use this thing. It's going to shake the entire floor. And so we sold it to my fraternity I bought it for $600 and we sold it for $540. So we each paid $10 to rent that speaker for a year and got the money back. I was like, perfect. And now we get to keep using it and fill the backyard for tailgates. So great situation. All that being said, I now need a new speaker for my apartment in case, we want to play music or throw a party. And so this $550 Sony SP700 came in open box, and I text Dan, and I go, "Hey, lowest is 2:04. Can you do that? He goes, LOL. Do you work tomorrow? I said, yeah. He goes, we'll talk.
Sounds about right.